Halloween
Forever.
It's beginning to look a lot like Bitchmas. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to a fucking very festive, very merry showdown episode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
Here we fucking are, guys, in the month of December. Listen, I'm looking out my office window out on my front lawn. I'm looking at my inflatable Frosty the Snowman. I'm looking at my dang light up candy canes. I'm drinking Christmas beers, guys. It is the holiday season.
I'm just gonna preface this. I'm still just not in the spirit because this is my month. This is my birthday month. So I don't give a fuck about the Santas, the candy canes, you know?
Yeah.
You can try. You can try.
You hate being, listen, if we know anything about Meg, is we hate being Holly, hates being jolly. Those are two. She hates it. She hates the Christmas spirit. Yeah. But she hates the Christmas spirit. We're going to get her into the Christmas spirit. What else to get somebody in the holiday spirit than horribly disfigured child murderers? Guys, we are doing December dirty this year. Not completely unlike we did last year, where we actually did a little thing called Secret Satan, kind of like your Secret Santas, but Satan because he rules. And we did a thing where we each picked a movie for each other. We actually did the Hellraiser franchise last year. That's what that old spinny wheel gave us. This year, it gave us a few options, and our listeners and yummy social media friends out there picked A Nightmare on Elm Street, that whole franchise for us for December. So we're doing that old Secret Satan. If you haven't been listening, and I'll explain to you what the hell we're doing that old Secret Satan situation this year. But instead, we had some of our listeners and friends out there in internet world pick them for us. So, as a reminder, let's give it a second, then we'll talk about what movies were picked for us, because that's going to kind of be announced on the fly here as well.
I really do appreciate so far with all these Secret Satans that we're like going over a franchise. I think it's great. I hope this keeps continuing that way.
Yeah, we've got kind of a little holiday, heartwarming holiday tradition. I would go as far as to say.
I mean, I feel like give me 2 or 3 more years and I might start getting into the spirit if this keeps happening. But
by 2025, and we're doing a very, very critter Christmas, and you're just fucking wearing an ugly sweater, chugging eggnog, the whole thing. So
I do want a Halloween is Forever ugly sweater.
I need it to like expand and be bigger than just like 10 films or something. I need our audience.
What's bigger than that?
Like,
you mean outside of a franchise? You mean?
Yeah. I need it outside of a franchise. I need our audience.
More, Steve. Okay.
Yeah,
I want
our audience.
Where greed comes in,
is.
I feel like this isn't very.
It's a season of giving. Listen, Meg, the Grinch herself over here handing out goddamn Christmas life lessons over here.
I want our audience to be drawing from a giant pool of movies to where we have no idea what we're getting.
Oh, I see. That's a good idea. Maybe next year, what we do is we do like the equivalent of the Sticky Bandits, where you just stick your hand into the change with tape wrapped around your hand and just see what comes out.
But there's razors just all in there. Your hand comes out looking like a fucking candy cane.
Listen, guys, we're gonna get into wrist slitting here tonight, so in my movie. So before we go any further and we talk about what movies we were gifted by our Secret Satans this beautiful crisp winter evening, Ian's got some beers you're drinking, or what's going on?
Go ahead, Meg. What trash are you putting down?
I know what she's drinking.
Hey guys, okay, this is like the 3rd episode in a row where I am recording from fucking work. And so you guys know when I'm working, I get a little bit of class, a little pinky out.
Sure.
Yes, there is a line of icy lights next to me.
Don't fuck around.
Our fans will see. We'll see that. But I am putting down. We had like one more glass left of this Montepulciano de Abruzzo Reserva red wine that I'm putting back to start, guys. I'm not only just into beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're getting after the poochie.
I'm fancy as fuck.
You're getting after the poochie tonight.
Meg is learning Italian, but also drinking garbage.
Yeah.
This is fucking great. This is like delicious wine.
How do you say
like
Iron City in Italian?
Irrone Chittys.
Wait. You just rolled your R's and
C said shitty.
That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
Getting real weird with that one. But
I was gonna say just beep.
You know, as I'm drinking this though, I'm just like wondering when I'm gonna get like the 2 red marks on my lip. But I have a really quick funny story of like my grandma loves drinking wine, and she does specifically love red wine. You know, she'll dabble in white wine too.
Classic
But I remember going over to her house. This was in the last like 5-6 years, and walked in, and this is probably like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, and my grandma like already had the 2 red marks on her lip.
Oh yeah.
Like she's been drinking for a while. Yeah. And I mean, there's just no question. She's just like, yeah, just like day drinking. I'm like,
she had the purple teeth.
Yeah. No,
rocking the purple teeth.
Whole night. Like if anyone understands my drinking habits, they just got to meet my grandma.
Granny likes to get down. I like a granny likes to get down.
I've taken her to Maggie's farm before. She fucking loves it, man. Yeah. Like
she got in a bar fight.
She gets down, you know?
She powerbombed somebody through chairs.
She stole a dog.
Her words are really where it goes. She's not getting into like too many physical fights. She just like her words cut deep, you know?
Yeah.
She's that type of grandma.
Gotcha. I like a good ornery grandma. What are you drinking, Steve?
I'm drinking Sadie.
Are you?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's kind of festive.
Is it cinnamon spice?
No, it's just regular old
At least?
Samuel Smith's organic cider.
That's a good one. I almost picked up a bottle of the Perry actually the other day. Then I didn't. So end of story there.
Samuel Smith, I feel like in general was like one of the first beers like you could find in stores regularly. You know, whether
like import, like anything unique import kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking great. I haven't had it in like years.
Everybody drank that chocolate back in the day.
I always get down with it. I always get down with a little Sam Smith. I was actually at a lovely Wegmans store up in beautiful Erie, Pennsylvania, and they had maybe the widest selection of Samuel Smith beers and ciders I've ever seen. They had like 10 facings of different ones. They had the organic lager, they had the Perry, they had the freaking, the IPA, they had the bitter, and just fucking everything. They had them all. Oh, they even had the Yorkshire Stingo.
I fucking always love their selection at a Wegmans. I don't know. I feel like that. I mean, that was usually one of my first go-tos where you could find craft beer back in my hometown. But
Wegmans rules. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just up there last week. And quick side story. Again, I have all the side stories. I haven't talked to you guys in so long. I picked up some stuff, and I was like actively like keeping a couple beers to the side that I was like, yeah, I'll drink on the episode. And then I had a friend, we did like a video call where the goal was we were just going to shotgun beers on the video call.
Sure.
So those were the martyrs. I was like, shit, I have 2 beers left. What am I going to fucking shotgun right now? Oh, it's a Gumball Head and a Pils Mafia. Cool.
Ooh. I haven't picked up the Pils Mafia yet.
No, but it's fine. I mean, it's good.
I've seen that beer popping around all the time.
There's so many Buffalo Bills themed beers.
There's like could be a fucking aisle of them.
6, 7 when I went home.
Apparently the organization, the Buffalo Bills organization, doesn't believe in sending cease and desist letters because holy shit, there's a lot of them.
Would they?
No, not at all. No, I think they like it because this is just marketing for people to like actively maybe like the Bills. I mean, granted, they're okay now, but I mean, these beers were still around within the last 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, before they started getting good again.
Let's not talk about the Buffalo Bills. This is not a sports podcast, y'all.
It is not. And for that reason, I'm going the complete opposite of sports, which I think is little mythical gnome creatures. I'm drinking a little Le Chouffe Blonde here, and I actually have my Le Chouffe glass with my little cute little gnome guys popping around there.
Is that what that is? That's so cute.
Yeah, they got a bunch of little gnomes. They got a little Where's Waldo situation on there. Yeah,
a lot of old school beers tonight, though, guys.
I know.
Like I've literally haven't had these beers in years, but now you make me want them.
What else I have here? I got a freaking Chimay over here.
Oh my god, is this the green label?
Yeah,
I literally almost fucking bought a bigger bottle of it.
Yeah,
but then I was like, no, I'm a broke ass bitch.
Yeah, this is the big old blonde bitch. The big 10%.
It's a hefty one. Yeah.
This time of year, you know me, guys. You know me. I love a loggy. I love an old loggy beer. And that's usually what I'm drinking. But around this time of year, when things get festive, I tend to go towards the Belgies. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm used to waking up in the month of December with a headache or something. But I always buy a disproportionate amount of Belgian beers in December. I don't know
because they're spicy and they're warm and they keep you warm.
Yeah, I think it's the warming situation. I think it's
when you say spicy though, I want you to do the elbow thing, or the shoulder
like
thing.
Yeah,
it's spicy.
Getting spicy over here, guys.
No one can see this, but yeah, they'll understand one day.
They'll get it.
You can just hear when I make this noise. You know what I'm doing with my shoulders.
That's sassy. That's the sassy prelude.
Yeah. All right, here we go, guys. Let's get into this here. Once again, before we actually get in, let me do a little thingy thing. I will remind you, this is very important. If you don't already follow us on the social medias, it's pretty much just at Halloween is Forever or at Halloween is Forever Pod or whatever on, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and TikTokies and all that sort of thing. Go over and give us a follow. Also, if you subscribe or follow us on your on your podcatcher of choice, it is very valuable to us if you go in there and write a little review. Just give us 5 stars and say, hey, nice podcast, dickweeds, or whatever you want to say. As long as it's a 5-star review, do that. Send me a note in the DMs, or send Steve a note in the DMs, or whatever the hell platform you're on, and I'll send you some Halloween's Forever stickers there in the mail. That offer extends beyond the Halloween season. Now, as I kind of explained a little bit at the top of the show, typically what we do is we take 3 topics off of our spinning wheel, and then our social media friends vote on it, and then we pick a movie. Not the case in December. Not the case in the Secret Satan Showdown here in December. Steve, what did you call it on the social medias? It was Secret Satan from Elm Street or something like that.
I don't know. I just put a bunch of words together until it made enough sentence.
Yeah.
It does sound like one of those things where you just start typing and then you click the next word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Secret Satan on Elm Street.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So
haven't you seen the one where they create like a song like it?
Oh yeah, Jack, our mutual friend Jack Smith does that all the time. He'll just send me just a paragraph, and I'll be like, yeah, that was all auto-generated shit. But it always gets into like dildos. It always ends up with dildos. I don't know. But it's probably because we text each other about dildos too.
That's absolutely why.
Yeah, trading. We trade.
Why are we not like sponsored by what is one of the I'm trying to
Adam
think
and
of
Eve or something like that.
Yeah, Adam and Eve specifically. Let's get that sponsorship going, guys.
I did send you guys a text about butt plugs earlier today as well. So
yeah,
but did they not look like butt
plugs?
Those
are Target butt plugs.
Absolutely, they did.
I was at Target and they had this whole display of these little like kind of nondescript, like weird Christmas tree decorations, and they just look like different colored and shaped butt plugs.
You know how we call it sometimes like Target, but that's the line of Target is the butt plug line. That's exactly what we're talking about.
I tried a couple out. I ran them through the dishwasher. I returned them. They were not comfortable.
They didn't look it.
I didn't like the texture.
It didn't look like your size, Brian.
It was a texture problem, not a size problem.
Yeah, Meg. They had 3 different levels.
Yeah, I'm not an amateur.
None of them were big enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I was. Never mind. I was going to say. I was sounding with them. I was actually putting them in my urethra, not my asshole. Anyway, guys, happy Christmas to all.
Dick hole Christmas coming to TV soon.
Yeah. Butt plug Christmas.
There's definitely a Santa themed fucking butt plug out there. I know it.
Oh yeah, sick. I actually have a flashlight that's just Santa's mouth. Guys,
Not even Mrs. Claus. It is straight up Santa.
No, it's Santa. It's the beard. It's the rosy.
Here's the complicated one. Here's the complicated one. It's the butt plug, but it has the mistletoe hanging out the back, and that's for your polycules.
Oh my god!
This is what happens when we record late and everyone's already drunk.
I know. I already had a couple drinks before I got on. No, I had an idea though of like having like my friend's having a cocktail party, and I'm like, dude, instead of like mistletoe, you should just like hang beer from the ceiling, and then that's like the mistletoe. Like people just kiss and they grab one, they shotgun the beer or something like that. Sure. I mean, we can get real creative with this.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, beer's the new mistletoe. That's what I'm hearing, and I'm on board.
I need beer to be able to abide by the idea of mistletoe.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's get into what the fuck is going on with these here picks for the Secret Satan. We did talk about who actually got whose, picked whose number, if you will, for the Secret Satans, but we didn't talk about exactly what movies we're going to be talking about. We do know that we're going to be talking about a Nightmare on Elm Street franchise or Freddy related things, any and all things Freddy Krueger. That could include TV, movies, spin-offs, whatever. Right. So here's where we landed, guys.
Let's go, bitch.
So first of all, I'll remind you, one Mr. Bigfoot Benjamin, friend of the show, former guest, probably soon to be guest again, because he did bring up a movie that we need to talk about that he is more than qualified to talk about. He got Meg. So Meg, tell the fine folks at home what movie Bigfoot Ben picked for you.
The dearest Benjamin chose Freddy versus Jason for me.
He did it. He did you dirty. He really did.
He fucking did it.
Well, in his defense, it was his third pick.
No, I understand. Yeah, I somehow ended up at the bottom of the barrel. So fuck all you guys. Anyway, first and foremost, it would not be a perfect showdown without me telling you to go fuck yourself. But I have more thoughts, but I don't want to dive into them just yet. Actually, yeah, okay, no, I'm not stoked. I'm just not stoked.
You're just not
right now. I'm just not.
Meg's in a state of not stoked right
not
now.
Here for it.
She is in a state of pure.
This is why I have a line of Iron Cities next to me, so I can just fucking get wasted while I'm on this episode.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it, because this will explain how Ben landed on that. Perhaps. The second pick was actually Steve, one Mr. Ian Dobo at iDobo10, friend of the show on the Instagrams, picked Steve. And Steve, tell the folks what movie you're going to be talking about.
So he gave me Wes Craven's New Nightmare from 1994, and I think that's because I did let on a little bit. I said I wouldn't be mad if somebody gave me that.
You dropped a hint. And Ian, we did this via the DMs on the Instagram. He did say, he had some rationale. He said, being that Steve went to film school, he's an obvious cinephile, and he did say specifically that he felt that you were the cynic of the group. He said, I so badly want to give him part 6, but I also want my pick to win. So Wes Craven's New Nightmare for
fucking
Steve.
Greedy motherfucker.
Yeah. So that was Ian's rationale. Now, for me, another Ian, guys, 2 out of 3 Ians in this scenario. This is one Mr. Ian Braden, again, friend of the show, at Ian T. Braden on the Instagrams. He was a gracious and, dare I say, festive Satan, in that he gave me the movie I asked for. I asked for it. I put it on my list. I put it in a bottle. I corked it up. I threw it in the creek, threw it down the creek. It floated down and on. It got to Santa. My pick, which is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors. And he did say specifically why he did this is because he did cop to stealing my pumpkin spice cum joke for use in a completely different scenario in his life.
I'm pretty sure I helped perpetuate that joke. So I definitely started that. So I'm
what you're saying. You want to trade movies right now?
Yeah, absolutely. 10 out of 10.
Propose it. We'll see how it goes.
We're not. No, we're not going to trade movies. How can I propose it? Like, there's nothing to change here, Brian. What I'm saying is that his reasoning, the joke.
You could ask. No, if you want to switch
movies. This is just Meg trying to add more asterisks to everything.
Wait, what are you talking about?
You're just trying. You're trying to. You just want to add more asterisks to everything.
I will. No. The asterisk already exists around my movie right now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm just coming at you guys.
You could ask, and we maybe I'll consider a trade.
To sit on. Why?
You could ask.
I don't trust you right now when you ask for that. Like, why would I trust you to be like, take my movie and assume that it would win?
You said you hate your movie and you want my movie to win, or you want my movie, right?
I didn't say I wanted your movie to win, though.
No, but you want my movie more than you want your movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying you could ask. Maybe I'll consider a trade.
I don't. Brian, will you trade movies with me?
No, definitely not. Let's get into these.
Why would you just walk into that?
You just made me get so vulnerable and ask you for something.
Oh, so good.
But I am going to still stand on the fucking hill
movie.
that cum joke was mine.
And
you were just part of it. Yeah.
All right. Well,
anyway. I fucking brought up the joke.
So I guess to get back to the point here is that Ben
you were just at the mercy of the joke.
Ben did initially pick Dream Warriors. I said, hey, you were selected for the third, Secret Satan episode. You'll be picking for Meg. He said, I said, any thoughts on Meg's movie? He said, my number one pick is Dream Warriors. I said, taken. What's your number two? He said, New Nightmare. I said, that was also picked. And he said, you've left me no choice. And then he sent me a Freddy GIF versus a Jason GIF. I said, perfect.
No, Ben's going to listen to this and he's going to hear me bitching right now. And I'm going to say, I love you still, Ben.
Ungrateful gift taking.
He was, he was put into a tough situation, guys.
He was put in a tough situation.
Don't blame, don't kill the messenger.
I feel like this is the October episode, but I am the referee.
I'm not,
you know what I mean? I literally feel like that's where I'm at.
Too short.
I'm not. No. Okay, Brian.
Steve's movie's kind of shot shit.
It's not.
Actually, no. I'm not. No, it's not.
A little tiny bit.
You can come at it that way, but what I'm going to say is, okay, I'm actually going to break this down for you guys right now. You guys have understood that I got into horror later in life, so I haven't experienced all of the franchises. And what I realized by watching all of our films is, and obviously seeing the first one a while ago, is that I think this franchise might be one of my new favorites. I think it's at the top of the list for me.
It's great.
It definitely over Friday the 13th, definitely over Halloween for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's very different. It's a very different thing. It's a very different thing.
I feel like Freddy has this essence of he has to be clever because he's not big. And we obviously know he's dead, so there's the supernatural aspect of it, I think, has been intriguing throughout it. And so with that being said, is I'm watching all of these movies for the first time and I thoroughly enjoyed the experience of it. And so I'm coming into this being these might be some of my new favorite movies that I've seen in a long time.
Listen, the Freddy franchise is great. The Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger, this. I put this more in the same boat as I would Chucky / Child's Play, and then I put Jason and Michael over in another category because they're so the difference with Freddy is he's self-aware to a certain extent.
Yeah.
As Chucky is as well. They are to a certain extent aware of the fact that they are living in a very weird world and they are taking just kind of pleasure in manipulating the strange horror movie logic that they live within. Whereas Michael and Jason are kind of living in at least the pseudo real world until you get really to part 6 and stuff like that. Guys, we're not talking about the other franchises, but It is interesting because it kind of stands on its own.
No, totally. But and I think that's what made me start thinking about it a little differently. And I like the idea of like putting, for my film specifically, Jason versus Freddy, because they're both clearly dead, and so we have that. And
you're taking some liberties. You're just going to switch them.
What's up?
You're calling it Jason versus Freddy. In your mind, you're switching.
Oh my God. Freddy versus Jason. What the fuck ever.
I thought you were retconning it to make it Jason versus Freddy.
No, okay. I'm just fucking been drinking. Like,
I thought you were just
going to drink earlier, and I got to drink tequila before I started my shift, and then had one while. Like, dude, fucking give me a break. I'm working a lot lately. I just pulled a double.
That's true. That's
Freddy
true.
versus Jason versus Freddy. They're both the same.
It is. Well, they're interchangeable.
Okay, now I'm making shit up right now because I'm just like now trying to like somehow back myself up here.
All right, let's get into this son of a bitch in
guys.
movies, you guys.
I still will stand on the hill that I am now in the referee position because my movie is not winning this tonight. I already know it. I'm not even voting for my own movie.
Ooh, so wow. Okay, well,
wow. So this is the hill that I'm
really
standing
on it. You're really falling on. You pulled the pin of this grenade and then you fell on it.
No, it's fine. Like I am walking into this episode knowing that I'm not winning because if we're talking about quintessential like Nightmare on Elm Street films, this is just not it. I love it, and we could talk about it. We could talk about the things I liked about it, but it's not winning tonight. I know that. So,
all right.
What I'm excited about is to hear how you both, because I liked both differently. I did kind of like one more than the other.
Okay.
Let's fucking go.
All right. So listen, your boy's the champ. Forgot to mention that at the top of the show. If you didn't know,
none of us care.
Your ass better call somebody because I am the current fucking champ. I'm holding this motherfucking strap. I took it home last month in November, so I get to pick the order for tonight. So I am going to lean in here, guys. I'm going to go first. I'm actually going to go first this time, which is a little bit of a weird choice for a defending champion, but I'm going to go first. And then I think we're going to go me, Steve, Meg.
Okie dokie.
Okay, cool.
I think that's the plan here. So first of all, I'll jump into. So I'm talking again one more time about a Nightmare on Elm Street. Sorry, a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3: Dream Wars from the year of our Lord 1987, directed by one Mr. Chuck Russell, written by a murderer's row. Guys of fucking superstar directors and writers. Obviously you got Chuck Russell in there, Wes Craven, Frankie Darabont himself coming in here with a writing credit, and Bruce Wagner. So this, so you get the Edgar Allan Poe quote at the beginning. You get a little paper mache action right off the bat. You know, one thing that I never noticed when I've seen this movie before, and this is my favorite of the franchise. This is one I asked for. Like I said, your boy got what he asked for on his old Christmas list.
In the future, I think that's a new asterisk. No more asking for what you want.
I'm pretty sure you did it this time.
I know, and I don't want to. I want to take that back as well.
No. Hey, Steve, I'm going to disagree with you though. Right. I'm gonna disagree because we don't know if we haven't decided yet if we're going to do. I do like the format of how we did this year, but I actually think it's fine. I think I'm going to go vote. It is okay to ask for what you want, and hope this because I didn't ask for what I wanted, and look what I got: Freddy versus Jason.
Should have been more vocal about what you want. If you don't ask for a Super Nintendo, you're going to end up with socks, boys and girls.
Yeah, but that's what I want. I want more socks in the future. I want everybody getting wet ass, dirty, smelly socks, and we all have to defend dirty socks.
That's what we're all getting for Christmas from you. I fucking know it.
Yeah. I'm actually wearing the socks that I'm ripening for you guys for Christmas. So, all right. So
no, dude, you got to save those to sell on the internet. You're going to make a lot of money off that. Please just like. And then just give me the money. Then give me the money. Actually, if you do that, I'm going to sell them for you. And then I'm going to make the money.
Feel like if I showed a picture of myself and said, do you want my sweaty socks? I just don't feel like I would get that many bites.
It only takes one.
No. Just put a picture of me up there.
That's what I'm saying. I need it needs to be like a picture of a woman because like I feel like the market for like people who are buying gross sweaty socks is like all really creepy dudes. So
no, exactly. But hey, Hey, no, you don't sell yourself short. You might have a market, but make it gross and grody. And I think that'd be really fun.
But like some little chunks of townnail in there. And
fuck yeah. I mean, my toenails are thumbnails are pretty long right now too.
How did we get off on this?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure
Meg decided she wanted to talk side hustles instead of movies.
Yeah. All right, guys. What I was gonna say in Dream Warriors, the horror movie, is that I never noticed this before, and this is my favorite one in the franchise, and I have seen it a lot of times, but I have never noticed this before. That if you've seen this movie before, you know that there's a young Mr. Lawrence Fishburne in this movie. The Morpheus himself is in this flick, but he is credited as Larry Fishburne in this one. And I never noticed that before. I just thought that was a cute little thing to bring up.
That is, it's this film, and I believe Apocalypse Now he's credited as Larry Fishburne.
Is he? I never paid attention to that.
Apocalypse Now, he was like 18.
Yeah, he was super young.
Yeah, I was like, maybe he's got older. He's like, I need to be taken seriously in a different way. Yada yada yada.
I'm Lawrence now.
I'm Lawrence.
Yeah.
Again, see how I rolled my R and made it sound totally different.
It did. It sounded very fancy and Italian. All right, so this opens on you get Kristen, played by the great Patricia Arquette.
We got another Patricia Arquette on this. We just talked about her.
She's chugging Coke. She's eating Maxwell House flavor crystals. She's trying to stay awake, obviously. So you kind of get the idea right off the bat what might be happening. And you get introduced to her mom, who definitely fucks. Her mom kind of is done with her, doesn't really want anything to do with her. Her dad and her parents got divorced. Her mom's out partying, cares more about that than her. That much is clear. But she also dresses weirdly like Bruce Wayne's mom. I never noticed that before. Why she's wearing pearls and this debutante kind of gown. I get it that they're supposed to be kind of well off, but it was just I never really paid that close attention. Are they well off,
or is she just a real high end escort?
No, so I kind of thought that in the previous viewings, but they do say something about, oh man, I didn't write it down, but there are a couple of context clues later on about how she grew up, in a they were fairly wealthy.
Okay.
I got that indication, and I can't remember exactly why, but this is the first time I really paid close attention to that. But in any case, the music rules to this movie. I'll call that out right now because you get some pretty sweet tracks early on. This has one of the quintessential Nightmare on Elm Street soundtracks. Long story short, Kristen's having Freddy dreams. She's seeing Freddy in his, boiler room, where he burns the kids in the furnace and being introduced, the victims and stuff like that. A story that has been told already in this franchise, but you don't quite know, what's different about Kristen's story yet. Couple of good scenes right off the bat, all the hanging teens, the skeleton little girl that she's trying to save, all this stuff before she wakes up. So but then you get that classic, dream inside a dream thing, which is, become a hallmark of the franchise. Love the scene where the faucet handles grow fingers and then slash her. So that's the inciting incident into why she gets sent to a psychiatric hospital. Mom walks in, she's holding a razor blade. She has sliced her wrist. Little do you know that this is something that happened, that Freddy did kind of in her dream. So great opening scene as far as I'm concerned. And that's what I like about a lot of movies in this franchise. They start fast. Not all of them. The first one, I think, maybe would be the exception to that rule a little bit.
Probably, but they're also trying to establish a character, whereas in subsequent films, you have to start fast because everybody knows what the hell Freddy is. So don't drag it out and bore people.
It's forgivable, in the first movie because you got to set all that stuff up. Yeah, I mean, even compared to a lot of the Halloween movies and stuff, these movies start fast, which I appreciate.
Which I think I feel like the only thing I'll note about that, though, that I kind of like is that there's definitely a recurring theme of these people are having these dreams and they're trying to deny what they are, but they still start out fast of like, let's just like get to the shit. Like, we know this is all going to be the basis of it, and we're just trying to figure it out, but there is somewhat of like a carryover from each one.
Yeah, and you get these little like workshop, a lot of times like a reoccurring opening scene you get in this franchise is this little like workshop scenes of like Freddy doing something creepy in his workshop. In this instance, you get it with Kristen, and she's doing paper mache. So she's like building these. She's like kind of doing some art. She's crafty, guys. She's crafty.
She's crafty.
Yeah. So you do get introduced to one Mr. Larry Fishburne, who plays Max, who is kind of one of the orderlies, orderly with a heart of gold. There's really only two, I think, that you see. One of them's like a piece of shit, and then you have Max, who's not a piece of shit. And he's explaining why he thinks acid is responsible for all these kids, like, mental issues. But you get introduced to the crew here. Dr. Gordon, which we'll talk about a lot here. You get introduced to Taryn and Jennifer and Kincaid and Philip and Joey, all the gang. So this crew is really, in my mind, what sets this movie apart compared to a lot of the other films in this franchise. You like and care about these characters in a way that you don't really in some of the other movies in this franchise, or at least you're interested in them, even if you don't care about them.
I'd say you're interested. I don't think you like all of them, because, like, I mean,
no, you don't like all of them. You either like them or at least you're interested.
You don't like Kincaid to begin with. Because I mean, why is he even in there? He just seems like lazy and then mad.
Yeah, he's got like, I think the whole thing is like he's probably the least kind of developed character, but the idea is that he's like the angry kid who like gets into fights and stuff. But the performer that plays him, and I didn't write his name down. I didn't write really any of them down except for like Patricia Arquette.
Ken Sagos, perhaps.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't really know that I've seen him in much else. But I think he's a little too like sweet and funny to be the like violent, tough guy teen.
Yeah, because even Joey comes off as like shittier than him.
Joey,
and I think it could almost be like a racist thing too. I'm not gonna lie, we're talking about time and place. It could also be just a racist thing where he just needs to like play up to some like tropes, and like that somehow makes him like hard.
He's really like, okay, he's the Raphael, really, of the crew.
Sure.
He's cool, but got attitude.
He's cool but rude, guys. He's cool but rude. He's the Raphael.
But he's like outspoken and stuff like that. That's why I'm like going like there's like these kind of mildly racist tropes a little bit.
Well, I don't know if it's racist as much as like I could see there is him. I would say Taryn also. I've never read the script or anything, but I got to assume there was probably more to their characters that got cut out. Like I kind of imagine like Taryn, it felt like there was more to her story that doesn't get told. I could envision Kincaid like coming from like an abusive household or something like that. Like they all came from like troubled backgrounds to a certain extent.
Right, which could explain why they'd be like, okay, associating, oh, you're having shitty dreams, but you're just a shitty person or a shitty kid because you come from this like shitty background. Yeah, like I could see the A to Z on it, but you get a lot about you get a decent amount of character development for having so many characters, but you don't get a ton of their background, I would say, with the exception of Kristen. And of course she's the protagonist. She's the main protagonist in this movie. So, but like I said, I think the crew and the unique setting that they're in, a unique relationship they have with one another, are the thing that sets this movie apart from anything else in this franchise. And the people who like this movie, I think, like it because of that. For this like Goonies-ish kind of element to it, but we'll get a little further into it. So Kristen starts early on. The thing I like about Kristen in this one is she just kind of fucks everyone up. Like she knows, she's going to die if she gets sedated, because she goes to the mental institution, obviously, because her mom thinks she tried to kill herself. And then she just starts fucking people up. Nancy walks in. You're like, where's Nancy? Right. She, where's Heather Langenkamp? And she shows up pretty early on. And she recognizes the rhyme that Nancy is kind of like muttering to herself, the 1-2 Freddy's coming for you kind of thing. Now,
this is like the interesting thing here. Nancy is an intern at this psychiatric hospital. And everyone thinks like it's kind of a unique setting because it's not just like all these kids are experiencing the Freddy dreams independently. And then you have to go through this whole rigmarole of, oh, you see Freddy too? Oh, I see Freddy in my dreams. You miss all that. They're already all on the same page, but feeling very, very trapped and trying to operate within this environment of this, institution where they're essentially prisoners in like in almost a low security prison of sorts. And they know that they have to watch out for each other by sleeping in shifts, for example, or whatever, to ensure that they don't fall, prey to Freddy in their dreams. They all are all on the same page, even though they might not be as open with it or accepting of what or understanding of what's truly happening. They are all like on the same page that like, yes, something is happening to all of us. It's not our imaginations. It's fucked up, but they're constantly being inundated from the outside, from the doctors and stuff in the institution that are saying, no, this is a group delusion of some sort. And they keep trying to convince them that it's like this group delusion. But they don't want to sleep. They don't believe it. But Nancy immediately recognizes what's happening, but the doctors obviously don't. So that's like the key kind of setup thing here is like they reinvented this idea of like Freddy can kill you in your dreams thing, but instead of it being the kids being dumb or lazy or whatever and putting themselves in a situation that would result in them potentially falling asleep of their own volition and putting themselves in danger, now they're running the risk of somebody else making them go to sleep and putting them in danger unknowingly.
Yeah. I think the one thing they do touch on, though, is they say that everybody was experiencing the dreams before they got institutionalized. So
yes.
So I'm not saying that like Freddy was trying to get them all in the same place. I think it's just because they're all in the Springwood area.
Right. So just his reign of terror is for whatever reason reserved to this geographic area, which is just a thing that we have to accept in this franchise, which I don't exactly know why. It's tied to the house at sometimes, but sometimes it's not. It's like it's kind of just like a hole in the franchise. But
I will say that this is kind of the one thing that bothers me about this film, one of them at least.
Oh, this is not a waterproof movie. Let's be clear about this.
But it's not waterproof, but it survives on a lot of great visuals. But the one thing that bothers me, and it just feels like it's out of order, is that so we get Nancy introduced, and then she falls into one of the dreams that Kristen is having.
Right.
And she saves Kristen from the worm Freddy.
Yeah.
And they see each other and they interact with each other. And then Nancy just lets two kids die after that.
She
doesn't she had it visually confirmed that Freddy's back. It wasn't a thing where because Nancy wasn't really having the dreams at the time. She wasn't suffering from it. She just she knew what it was.
Yes.
And you could
right. Well, she was on that hypnosil, so it was more so like Kristen pulling her in.
Right. Yeah. Kristen pulled her in. But the thing is, at that point, after she has Freddy confirmed, don't let two kids die.
Well, I get that. But here's, I think, the difference. And they do address it a little bit is there is this other ambiguous thing that kind of reminds me of Michael's strength in the Halloween franchise or his unkillability or Jason, whether he's alive or dead kind of thing. There's this thing in this franchise where they constantly are alluding to how strong or not strong Freddy has become. And that's across the whole, every movie to my knowledge that I could think of, there is some reference to Freddy's too weak. He can't do this until he gets another fucking soul or whatever. And then the next one, they're like, Freddy's getting stronger. Now he's so strong, he can do whatever he wants. So it's like this sliding scale that they use to like conveniently adjust how Freddy can manipulate the real world versus the dream world. And it's I
feel like I kind of like that end of it though, because I mean, it allows, I think, multiple plot points, which again also will feed into when I talk about my film. I don't know if you're thinking of it negatively or thinking of it it's like a weak point to the franchise. I mean, I don't know if it's like
negative, but it's just one of those things with a big franchise that you see. I think that I will say this movie, I would say, does it better than almost any other movie in the franchise in that it establishes the thing that Freddy gets strength from collecting children's souls. And they actually see later when he pulls his sweater open and you see all the souls, the faces kind of coming out of his body as, his demon skin is absorbing the souls or whatever. So like, at least they try to address it in this movie, and in other movies in the franchise, they don't. So it's weak, but it's a weak part of the franchise.
Sure. And I think it's also just because so like in Meg and I's film, it sets it up very early as to why Freddy's weak.
Yeah.
And so it makes more sense that he has to gain power some way. But like in these other films that are beyond, like basically 2 to 6, in those films, like you're more or less hitting the ground running and you don't know where Freddy's power is at that point.
Right.
So that's why they can just make it up and make it that sliding scale. I guess you can
assume that you can make it up because it's like, how much time has passed? What has Freddy been up to? Like, has he just been like chilling and playing video games, or has he been like out like, hustling and killing? You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't know.
He's not selling his socks clearly on the internet.
That's true. He should probably be though. But I like 2, but I haven't seen it in years. So I don't remember where Freddy is at the end of 2. I mean, obviously.
But he's also not really connected. 2's not really connected to 3.
I guess it's not.
3 and 4 have connective tissue.
3 almost feels like a direct sequel to 1.
And it more or less is.
Yeah. So I guess at that point, like Freddy has been kind of banished in some capacity, or it's because Nancy, like obviously the events of 1 happened because Nancy's there and Nancy's dad is like, drinking with his uniform on, whatever. So anyway, it's never really something that's super clearly explained. But you did mention, this movie, I think, between the group dynamics, some really great scenes amongst the group dynamic, even though some of the characters are like, feel like, the Burger King Kids Club, edgelord Burger King Kids Club. I do like, you get the giant Freddy snake swallowing her, which is such a great scene. And then you understand that the kind of telepathic connection that happens with Kristen and other people that see Freddy. But the animatronic Freddy in this scene is fucking great. It's maybe my favorite visual of the whole franchise. So that was like, that's the thing that hooked me on this movie, probably the first time I saw it. But you get this idea Kristen can pull people into her dreams, and Nancy knows it and like believes her right away, which is unique. Like she, Kristen being the like protagonist, she's not like the sole person that has to convince everybody else this is happening. Like Nancy's like, no, I got you, bitch. Like I know what's happening right now, and we're gonna explain to everybody else. Yeah, bitch, we got this right now, and we're gonna explain to everyone, and everyone else in the crew, is all like, yeah, totally. This makes sense. So it's like they get to start working on solving the problem rather than having to do that old trope of like, I've got to convince everybody and then they got to get it proven to them, and all that stuff. The only person they really have to prove it to is Gordon. And it happens in kind of a cool way.
I couldn't imagine this franchise surviving if they had to like go through the same motions every single time, which I think I'm like appreciative of the franchise for. So
yeah,
this is a side comment.
I mean, and there are some where you kind of have to do it, unfortunately, but like in different ways. They always do like reinvent it, and like we'll see that pretty put on display in Steve's movie. But Yeah. So anyway, so you get the idea of a little bit about their backstory, why they were here, what happened. So Will tried to jump off a building. That's why he's in a wheelchair. Jennifer has these like delusions of being like a TV star, and she burns herself to like keep herself awake with cigarettes. Joey's a mute, I guess. Taryn is like kind of the bad delinquent junkie kid. Kincaid is Raphael, we said, and then Philip is just poor man's Corey Feldman. I think that's all he is. But they're trying to blame the dreams, like the doctors are trying to blame it on like guilt, and like they kind of
when you say poor man's Corey Feldman, are you referencing his character in Friday the 13th Part 4, who is a mask builder? But instead of masks, he builds marionettes.
He is not a great character. Like, he just feels like he's doing a Corey Feldman impression almost. But anyway, so they're trying to blame it on everything else. Some of the things that really like kind of lend some you kind of start to feel for the characters a little bit is like the scene where they're playing D&D. And, it's like they're this little family in like summer camp or that sort of thing, but they can't leave. So they all have this like ultra vulnerable side to them because they know each other's like skeletons and why they're there. And they're all like, it's like summer camp or, a family drama type of thing, but it's like everyone is forced to be super vulnerable because of the situation they're in. They, like I said, they sleep in shifts. Nancy's taking, Meg, like you said, a Hypnosil, which is this, that's something recurring thing in the franchise, this drug that suppresses dreams, which is like actually one of my biggest problems with this franchise. It's like, it's such a cop out, but it's a thing that happens in this franchise.
We've seen in other movies, at least the ones we saw, like where there's problems with it. Yeah. So I kind of like that it's not a cop out in that like it's a possible solution to what's going on, but it comes with its own fucking issues.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. It doesn't like ruin it for me. But yeah,
like mine was literally everyone's in a coma. But hoops. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going. So Hypnosil is this like
I'll
drug
just talk about
that
mine
just
throughout it, so that by the time you get to me, that we're done talking about my movie.
But like Nancy, like it just Hypnosil is just like it's Freddy kryptonite. Like it just you have an invisible cloak. You got a Freddy force field if you take Hypnosil. So
this is when we cue Three Doors Down, Steve.
this is that music cue. You get a stop motion Freddy marionette. Steve, you're right. There's a lot, this is heavily dependent on visuals, but when the visuals rule this hard, it's like it's kind of
liked the marionette. I really actually fucking liked the marionette a lot.
I thought it was super sweet.
Was fucking sick. Mm-hmm.
And then you have, of course, Philip. He kind of gets strung up by the tendons, which is like one of the most like, I don't know. Of course, I've never had my tendons ripped out of my body, but like people get freaked out about like finger things or like eyeball things. Like the scene in Zombie or
Achilles heel. Usually, those do it for me.
Anything with tendons is pretty gross to me, and this scene really is like is pretty fucking gross. But he gets like strung up by his tendons in his arms and his legs, and he has to walk the whole way to this ledge, and then Freddy's using him as like basically a marionette. It's big old puppeteer Freddy up in the clouds, and then makes him plummet
I will
to
say
his
this
death.
Is like this might be like one of the better scenes in this movie, and I really like it is because like everyone is so intense, like they know what the fuck is going on.
They can't help him.
They can't help him, but they know they can't see even Freddy at the moment. Like, but it's such a tense moment, and this is like even Joey doesn't get to that. Was Joey right? I just want to make sure I have the mute.
Philip is the one that is made to jump. Joey is the one who goes through
the mute.
And bangs on
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Joey's the mute. Okay. Philip's the one.
Yeah, so I thought. Okay, so Joey the mute, like he's like at this point, like trying to like.
Sounds like a
Joey
character
the
in
mute.
Goodfellas. Oh, Joey the mute. Tony 2 times over here.
Okay. I think it's a really great scene of them, like the camaraderie, because they're like now collectively witnessing one of their own like being affected by Freddy. So I think it's a pretty impactful scene.
Yeah.
The guy playing the character like does a great job, like really like giving away that something's happening, but also not making it seem so awkward for the time and place of when this was done. It could have been a really stupid, weird scene too.
Yeah,
so
it could have been like.
I'll give props to this scene specifically.
It seems silly to say that like a scene in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie was done tastefully, but it kind of a little bit was. But yeah, there's like all these visuals, the snake and the marionette and all that stuff is really cool. Later, you get Skeleton Freddy and all this stuff, which is some cool stop motion stuff, but the scenes that really, I think, set this one apart from what other, films in the franchise is these like group therapy scenes when they're having their like sitting around in a circle, type of thing. And like in this instance, it's where they all know what's happening, but the staff doesn't. So they're having conversations among each other and they're just having to like basically pretend the staff isn't there. And then the staff is trying to like simultaneously wrap their heads around the conversation, but also like control it and like provide some sort of therapy, which they're just lost because the kids are like confident and they know what's happening. And it just feels like it's like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but with Freddy Krueger in it.
A little bit.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I will say like again, I'm just seeing myself as a referee in this episode. So I'm going to say a weak point for even what you just brought up was like, I found myself frustrated and annoyed and felt like it wasn't developed well with how the doctor, nurses, and psychologists like responded to these situations. Cause it felt like they felt so stereotypical to the point where like, it didn't make sense. Like you have this collective thing. They've already experienced XYZ, but now they're still just like, always to a point trying to deny what they're actually experiencing. So
yeah, when it comes down
I was
to
kind
it,
of annoyed at one point.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely like people there that are trying to, it's kind of a helpless situation because these kids are like, they're trying to get better and they're trying to like get themselves out of this situation, but they're constantly in this scenario where should they doubt themselves or believe in what could potentially be delusions. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not just that they have trust issues with the staff or their fellow what I want to say inmates. They're not inmates, they're patients. Like it's they're having to have that issue with them. Should they trust themselves? Like, are they themselves unreliable narrators,
right? But at the same time, like us as an audience, we're already way ahead of that point. So because we know it's Freddy,
I think,
yeah,
I think that's an amazing point because all it does is feel like it's holding back something that could actually happen. It does. I think you saying that, Steve, is like the perfect description because it feels like we are ahead, and all I feel like is like now they're trying to take us back to the beginning of the film because that is something that should have or could have happened early in the film, and now we're way past that.
Which is why I said it feels out of order with the way like Nancy is also ahead of all of this because she's already seen Freddy. So like if it had happened before where you see like Jennifer, get killed and she's stuffed into TV and nobody's really sure how or why it happened. Okay. And then you move on and you see Philip throw himself off the top of the building. Nobody knows how or why. Then third time, Nancy falls into Kristen's dream. And then you get to see, it is Freddy that's doing all this.
But now then do you really want a movie where you're 50 minutes in and you haven't seen Freddy?
No. But I mean, at the same time, like if you're going to structure it the way that you have the doctors casting doubt.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm
the
saying?
problem is it's a third movie.
Right.
so they're trying to do the same thing that everyone understands, but they need to put a new spin on it and a new element of danger.
Which again was why it doesn't make sense, is because I feel like when I walked into this film where I was like, all of these characters are here for the same fucking reason. at some point, how is all of a sudden Kristen coming into the picture now putting a name to why they're fucking there? So it felt like
it's not Kristen, it's Nancy coming in. It's just that those things happen simultaneously.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Yeah. So it felt regressive to like, it made me feel like, okay, these are doctors and characters that should be in a position of power where I can understand that. I mean, I don't even want to create a plot point of what would have made more sense. And maybe Steve, you have a better opinion on it, but like, going from like we're working through certain things, understanding certain parameters, and then all of a sudden now we're like, nope, we don't believe anything that's actually happening. That's how it felt in watching it.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying by like, if you have those two characters die, but I mean, you essentially have to remove the idea that this is a third Nightmare movie. You'd have to mark it as completely something else. You'd have to, or just make it its own separate film. Yeah. And then you have, you create a mystery film, but we're not doing a mystery film. We're doing a third sequel. So you have to get rid of these stupid roadblock doctors. Like these, you have to get, you just have to remove
fairly
them.
Ineffectual.
They just waste our time and it makes it annoying.
Well, no, because I think,
I'm going to go on referee here is I don't want to get too stuck on these doctors because this is just a weak point to this film. Yeah, I think there's so much more to keep. Let's just like keep going. I really want to like keep going. If we're going with pace for tonight, let's keep moving forward past this point.
Fair enough. I think at this point, though, if we would have had some sort of like whodunit type situation, then you would have never had the scene here, which is, of course, Welcome to Primetime, bitch. Which is. I mean, I would have. That is Edgar Allan Poe level writing there, but
Edgar fucking Allan Poe level shit right here.
But she, Jennifer's trying to stay up late at night, and of course, Larry Fishburne lets her stay up. She's burning herself with cigarettes, the whole 9 yards. She still falls asleep, and Freddy, picks her up, jams her head into the TV, because she likes TV. This is, and this is just occurring to me now. This is less Goonies, more Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and she Mike TV. She is 100% Mike TV.
Yes,
you get this a little bit of indication at this point. Like you knew Jennifer was going to bite the big one pretty early, but like Taryn, you're starting to learn a little bit more about her, and the piece of shit orderly is trying to seduce her, basically saying like, "I'll get you some drugs."
But I fucking hate it. You're perpetuating stereotypes. I fucking hate it.
Yeah,
I want more Larrys. I want more Larrys.
It was 1987, guys. Nothing gets you high like drugs. That's all I gotta say.
I don't like any implication about being born in 1987, Brian, because that's when I was born.
No, I didn't say born in 1987, but were you on drugs in 1987? Because 1987 was
I don't think my parents were doing drugs. I don't think my mom did drugs. But like, so I'm gonna say no. Yeah. But you know what I mean. I'm just saying, don't say it was.
You get a Zaza Gabor cameo here, which again,
Zaza
1987. So Jennifer has bit the big one at this point, and now they're like, okay, she obviously didn't kill herself by jamming her head through a TV that's hung up on the wall. So at the funeral, the doc sees I think her name's like Sister Mary Helena or something like that. It's Amanda Kruger, right? It's Freddy's mom. Yeah. We all know this. At this point, it's not that difficult to determine. But then eventually Nancy like pushes everything forward. Like, we're going to tell them what's going on. She explains everybody who Freddy is. The doc, agrees to give them the drug, and they do a whole like hypnotizing thing where we're all going to fall asleep at once. And then they're like, oh, it didn't work. But then the doc's little like perpetual motion thing starts to fly around. The nerd kid in the wheelchair is a wizard now. Kincaid's super strong. They all have these dream powers that they have developed as kind of like defense mechanisms in their dream to fight Freddy, and now they're all going to come together.
Indicators. I think it's also good indicators when they know when they're in a dream too.
It is. Yeah, that too. But these are tools that they have developed in their dreams to fight Freddy off and survive. So now they're all coming together, as the Planeteers to go fight Freddy with all their individual powers. So, like I said, Kincaid's super strong. Kristen does flips. Taryn is a punk with knives. I guess that was the only one that was kind of confusing for me. I think she's also Raphael.
I never caught that Dead Milkman song. Taryn is punk. So,
I think the whole idea was like she doesn't like herself, so if she was cool, she would like herself. I guess.
Typical punk things. So yeah.
But meanwhile, so Joey sneaks off and he's about to fuck this nurse, but then she ties him up with her tongue, and then
oh my god. I sent this like I paused and replay or like rewound and videotaped it and sent it to some people. I was like,
what's wrong, Joey?
This is a different kink level.
It's a great pun. classic Freddy line. So anyway, the other doctor comes in, sees them all just like passed out on the ground. Joey's in a coma, and she's like, "Nope, not cool."
We've talked about boobs for 2 seconds.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
This is really the only boob factor you have in your movie.
That's true.
So I'm just saying, boobs. We're just making a note because when we talk about mine's within the first 3 minutes.
Yeah,
so let's keep going. Let's keep going.
But they're
better boobs too, I think.
In yours?
I think so. Yeah.
Nah, dog.
Hard
on. No.
Yeah.
They are brand new fake boobs. Like, not just listen. I'm not trying to say like, listen, have your fake boobs, do your thing. Wow. I'm not trying to judge.
Granted, okay, I'll give it to you guys.
If I had to choose between fake and real, I have a preference. I would rather see real boobs, but not
don't know. Those are 80s possibly fake boobs though.
But here's the thing: it's not just that they're fake in your movie; it's that they're brand new fake. Like they're like they literally look like they're made of plastic and don't move at all. That's that's a problem for me. They got to get worn in. They're like. Yeah, it's like a harmonica. When you get a harmonica and you can't really bend the notes well because it needs like loosened up. It's the same thing with fake boobs. All right. So anyway, guys,
let's keep going.
I'm going to jump forward. I'm jumping forward
is
here.
Not going to actually be enough time.
No, I'm moving forward here, guys. The big chief doctor comes in and goes, "You guys fucked up. You're fired." Nancy and Gordon. And then you get the story, which is a canonical thing that I think is important. Is you get the whole, bastard son of 100 maniacs thing that Amanda Kruger explains, like she was, raped by all these crazy people, and that's how Freddy was born or whatever, which is really weird.
Wait, is that how the band 10,000 Maniacs came about?
I don't think so, because this is 100 maniacs. But
no, I mean, but you can just add a zero.
It could be. I don't think so. Because I think they existed before 1987. I'm not sure about that, but
no.
I
don't think so. I think in the 90s.
There's no way that it came from this. There's no way. Listen, and you might be right.
No. I'm making a complete joke because of that. I'm saying 10,000 Maniacs because they actually were from my hometown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's the song? What was their big song?
Fucking can't even remember. I'm just saying you drove 10,000 Maniacs, and there's plenty of people out there who probably know who they are. Anywho, this is I know bad they joke.
Are, but I can't remember just can't remember the song.
Not tell me all your thoughts on God. That's all I know. But I wanted to bring that up. Let's keep going. I keep drinking Iron Cities, and we keep talking about your film.
All right,
this
listen.
It's not going to get better.
So they figure out how they're going to get rid of Freddy. This is important. They got to bury his remains on hallowed ground. The parents burned him, years ago, whatever. Mm-hmm. So here I can jump forward a little bit. So, he's holding Joey hostage. You get the come get him bitch thing, carved on his chest.
C-U-M, come get him bitch.
It was C-U-M. Little known fact. They figure, well, if anybody knows where Freddy's remains are buried so they can go bury them on hallowed ground, it's Nancy's dad because he's the cop and blah, blah, blah. So he's getting hammered at a bar. They go find him. They kind of lure Nancy and Gordon back, saying Kristen's been sedated. She's going to get all fucked up. by Freddy if you don't come help. And then you get Kincaid's famous line, "Let's go kick this motherfucker's ass all over Dreamland." I mean, come on, that might be the scene. That might be the line of the movie.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
They all enter Nancy's dream at once. They start fighting Freddy and using all their damn ninja powers and all that type of shit. And then a couple of them meet their fate. Taryn and Freddy have a knife fight. And she's like, and then he's like, "No, wait, let's get high."
Dumping your dream to a knife fight, motherfucker.
But then she's just like, he's like, "We're friends, let's get high." And then she just kills her, I guess. I don't know.
Her and what's his name?
Kincaid.
No, not Kincaid. The kid in the wheelchair who's the wizard. Will. Her and Will just get like dispatched like
unceremoniously,
so easily.
I would say. Well, yeah, because I really feel like there was probably, especially Will, because Taryn gets like a climactic thing where her, even her little track marks are like yum 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 yum, with her like little mouths and stuff.
Yeah, they're like yum, eat them up.
Yeah, I got the feeling that there was more to Taryn's story, because then there was the whole, how about the asshole, orderly that was trying to like get her to like fuck him so she would give him, he would give her drugs and stuff. Yeah. I just felt like there was more to Taryn's story that got cut out. And then she ends up getting, like, you saw the climactic kill, but like it felt rushed a little bit. But Will's especially did, because he's like, "I'm a dang wizard. I'm going to explode your scary chair." And then he's just like, "Nah, dog, stab."
And then, he just walks up to him and he gets stabbed. And then you don't see anything after that, really.
Will's done. He's out. Yeah.
He just got stabbed in his chest and that's it. And it's like,
Freddy teases him for being paraplegic. And then he sends a mean wheelchair at him. And then he's like, "Nah, dog," he wizards it. And then he just gets stabbed. And it's just like, "Oh, bye, Will." Yeah. It's pretty unceremonious. I will agree. So this is, pretty much the end of the movie here, but Freddy, they find Freddy's remains. It's in the trunk of this car in this goddamn junkyard, basically. And within the doctor and Nancy's dad are going to find that. Simultaneously, they're in, the dreamland. They're in Freddy's boiler room. Joey's tied up. They do a whole fight situation. They saved Joey. This is where you get the kid's souls on his chest, which is kind of pretty sick. But they're trying to bury Freddy's remains. But then the cars start fighting them. I don't know. But this is where you get the stop motion Freddy skeleton, which is pretty sweet, that comes out of the bag and starts fucking them up and kills Nancy's dad, beats the shit out of the doctor with a shovel, and then tries to bury him. And
I love a good old Harryhausen skeleton, but how does this make any logical sense?
Why Freddy's skeleton comes back?
Yeah,
because of the power. Freddy's got more power. he's Tim Allen. He's got more power. Yeah.
Oh God. I just think it's like a way for them to be like, remind you, he's never gonna die. It's never like.
Yeah, but
I'm excited to see another.
I understand.
There's no reason.
Like, why did his skeleton not have power up to this point? Like, I get what, it's dumb. It's so dumb. This is the thing, is like, this franchise, I think, has so much wacky shit like that nothing seems worth arguing over. So the
excuses we make for films like this in general, I think, are because you're like, oh yeah, whatever.
But like with Michael, everyone's like, "Why did Corey get to wrestle him to the ground?" You know what I mean? And they're like,
Michael, I don't want to talk about Michael. I don't want to talk about Michael.
But you get what I'm saying. Like people were
let's not bring it up.
People were so like critical of that stuff, but with this franchise, they're just like, his skeletons fights people.
No, but again, I will go back to it over and over again, which is, let's bring it up. We're gonna fucking do it. Freddy's dead. Michael, we don't know, is fucking dead.
Right.
Done. Story over.
But why is it? But his skeleton pops up. I don't listen. I don't know why I'm arguing against my own movie.
Because there's nothing that it doesn't matter. He's fucking dead.
But he's been in the trunk. He's been in the trunk for a long time. Why didn't he just get his ass up out the trunk?
Who fucking cares? He's dead. Doesn't matter what happens. He's fucking dead. That's all I'm going to say is over and over again. He's fucking dead. So anything can fucking go as far as, I mean, granted, there has to be a little bit of logic as far as, but like at the end of the day, he's fucking dead.
Well, that's my point.
I will make all the excuses for this franchise because he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Meg has flipped around Iron City logic on you.
He did. She's making my point for me. That's what I'm saying.
And she made you argue against your own film with Iron City logic.
Well, no,
wait, what did I fuck up here? What did I fuck up?
You made my
point. You didn't fuck up anything. You just made Brian argue like why.
Oh. Yeah, I was arguing against my own movie. That's dumb. Well, but what I'm saying is that
it is dumb. But it is okay.
But the whole franchise is dumb for that same reason. And people give it a get out of jail free card because there's so much other dumb stuff.
Well, yeah, because it's dumb and it's dreamy. It's not set in the real world. Like
it's not a real world happenings.
No matter what, there will always be excuses. Which is again, I think which is why it became like when I told you guys already, like I really like this franchise because I can make these exceptions because anything can go.
Yeah. Exactly. Same thing. We're saying the same thing in different ways.
Yeah. I love that. I would prefer that. I don't want to assume someone's life. Anywho.
Yeah. So anyway, Joey saves the crew by talking. He screams and shatters all the mirrors, and he finds his dream power, which I can talk in my dreams, I guess. Nancy's ghost dad shows up, tells her he's dead. They hug. JK, it's Freddy. He stabs Nancy. Nancy has enough strength to basically make Freddy stab himself, like in her last act.
I like this part though. This is one of my favorite parts of it because it is so fucking cheesy.
Yeah.
When Nancy's dad comes in, because he comes in on Disney sparkles.
Angel shit. Yeah. Yeah, he literally comes in after being touched by an angel, comes rolling in and is like, Nancy, I've passed on. She's like, what do you mean you passed on? It's like, I had to tell you I passed on. And
you just sound like old Greg, dude, right now. Like, this is great. Keep going.
And then he just like, he's like, come give me a hug, Nancy. And she's like, oh, cool. And then he just stabs her in the belly. It's so fucking wild.
Can you dress up as old Greg next year for Halloween?
I'm old Greg. But just simultaneously, Doc Gordon gets his last little bit of strength, says a whole, bless this mess situation, throws holy water in the hole where Freddy's body is. Freddy explodes into Jesus dust. I hate that it became like you just had to do Jesus stuff and then Freddy dies. It was kind of, that's kind of sucks. But he sees, and then he sees Amanda at the burial again, meaning Doc Gordon does, and leads him to her grave. And he's like, it was Freddy's mom the whole time. And it's like, of course it was. And then, while they're sleeping, you see the light still on in the house that Kristen made. And then that's the end. So it's not, listen, in my mind, the weakest part of this movie is the ending. But boy, they had a lot of different things they had to circle back and tie up in a relatively short amount of time. I paid more close attention to the pacing this time around than I had in the past. And I was like, dang, there's 8 minutes left in this movie, and there's a lot of shit they got to tie up right now.
Wrap it up. Let's go.
You know what? This is not one of those movies where you really like. It starts fast. It's got memorable scenes. People who love this movie, I don't even think that, or people that'll be like, oh yeah, I like Dream Warriors, or like, it's one of the better ones in the franchise. If you asked them about it, I don't know that they would even necessarily remember everything about the ending of it.
No, they like pretty much every scene like that's involving Freddy's mom and all that could have all gone and just been something else.
Yeah.
Like, don't
the
do
whole
that.
Amanda Kruger thing, I don't really understand why it needed to be there, but here's what I like about it. Besides the crew and all that stuff we talked about, Nancy is like this a little bit more fully Listen, Heather Langenkamp is not a good actor. She's just not. She's bad at it. She does a bad job at acting. She's beloved.
At a time and place, she's like on par. I mean,
she's a beloved horror, icon. I get it, but like
I love her
great.
more in Steve's though. Like I do love her more. It's like she fits.
I thought she was so bad in Steve's. I don't know. She was bad in mine too, but she's bad. She's bad across the board. But at least in this one, she's
here.
like more like fully, a little bit of shade from me. She's like fully fleshed out, and like she has a character. At least she's a character with agency and a plan.
Right.
In my movie, which I like about it. Whereas like in some of the other movies, she's just like, oh no. She's just going from thing to thing, like, oh no. Like she at least
she's falling off a cliff.
Yeah,
like the entire movie.
she at least like is taking charge and has, like I said, she just has agency. She has a plan, and I like that they're not just fighting against themselves and their willingness to like not sleep in this one, or like, I don't know. They're fighting against other folks that make them sleep and put them in danger. So it's like they're not just fighting Freddy and themselves. They're fighting a system as well.
I think it would have been more interesting if they did away with all that real world stuff involving Nancy's father and the doctor, and then just put that doctor in the dreams with them as well. And like he would become the element that you have to turn to make him a believer. But then once he's a believer, he can add his own expertise as a psychologist to help the kids like be more powerful in their dreams.
Like psych them up to do it instead of ultimately he just saves them in the end by throwing holy water on Freddy.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. I agree. But again,
we were set up with him that like he literally like already was like, who the fuck is this Nancy bitch? I don't fucking give a shit about her. And like he was not set up as a character to possibly be a hero in like a way that would have been satisfying the way we were talking about it. He just never was. He was just like, I'm gonna do just like whatever is instinctual, like, oh, this guy's dead, so holy water makes sense. Like I don't like it that
well
part,
the hallowed ground thing, he apparently gleaned all that from Amanda Kruger, so I don't know. I guess he could have read it in a book, or it's basically the 1987 equivalent of what Steve Premium was talking about in the last episode, which was the internet expert showing up.
Right.
But in this case, it's a nun in a graveyard.
A nun told him what was up. The ghost nun told me to kill her ghost son.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. So, all right, that's my movie. Let's get into flick number 2 here, guys. Steve, you want to take it away?
Just a point of order before I start. 10,000 Maniacs formed in 1981.
Thank you. I'm a big fan.
And they are named after the Herschel Gordon Lewis film 2,000 Maniacs.
There you go. I did think there was a horror tie-in there, but I did not. I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what it was.
There it is.
Thanks. Yeah. So I have some hometown horror shit, so I should probably pull the one connection I know from that band into a conversation in the future.
And 2,000 Maniacs is on Tubi right now, as well as a bunch of other Herschel Gordon Lewis's, because I've been watching a shitload of them.
I'll work on it. I'll work on the people.
So there you go. All right. On to my film, Wes Craven's New Nightmare from 1994. And this is
like the new Coke of the franchise.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I feel like this is the one I grew up on the most.
Really?
Yeah. Because, I was a little too young for the 80 films.
Sure.
And this one, I either remember it being on TNT or Cinemax like all the time.
I could see that. And
I feel like I watched this one a lot as a little kid, but then it's probably been 20 plus years since I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I had fond memories of it, which is why I asked for it to be picked. I felt
okay, I must have missed that. So you asked and you got it. So, no asterisks apparently for this episode because I didn't ask for anything.
No, the asterisk is still like we shouldn't ask for things because I still came up second in the order, Meg. Obviously, if I came up first,
what you wanted. So why are you?
But if I came up first in the order, I definitely would have taken Dream Orders over this. But Brian came up first in the order.
No, I didn't come up first in the order. We just said you get to pick a person.
Well, yeah, you came up.
Okay, let's also be real. Brian was also controlling the scenario here. So, Steve, we could have an asterisk. So, I mean, you were the one receiving all the things. So you could have said,
you guys have the login.
I don't. I actually don't.
Are you accusing me?
I have no
cheating?
logins to anything we do.
That's probably for the best.
Fuck off. What? What do you think I'm gonna start using our accounts so I can like sell
my identity,
like socks and underpants?
You're gonna steal my identity, you rat fuck. All right, let's go.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe I shouldn't be in charge of picking. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. But yeah, look, no, New Nightmare it's the adultified version of what Wes Craven wanted to do. And this actually was originally supposed to be the third movie. This was like he wanted to do this as number 3, but the studio said no. And so they made Dream Warriors instead.
He's a pseudo highbrow writer.
No, I don't think
he wanted to jerk off all over a script, and he
had to wait a few more years. Let's keep moving.
That's not Wes. Wes he wants to jerk around on a script. Yeah. He wants to jerk off, but he's not doing it in a pseudo highbrow Wes Anderson, Charlie Kaufman.
It's like mutual circle jerks. It's like mutual. Like
it's just I would say not highbrow, but it's just this script is so masturbatory. It's a little bit wild.
It's absolutely masturbatory. I mean, he puts himself in it, like
talks about himself like he's Stephen King, which he's not. I mean, I like Wes Craven, but
he obviously isn't. But also, like in the scenes that he's in, he has like Stephen King in the background. Like he's doing everything tongue in cheek.
I guess so. Yeah, he's not. I'm not as big of a Wes Craven guy, so like I'm being overly cynical of it. But it's just like Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves because we haven't gotten into the story. But
no, I can see how from like the base level, it looks just like a super jerk off party of Wes Craven thinking he's the coolest and like being the coolest. But no, he's far more of like a tongue in cheek filmmaker, especially like when you look at Scream, when you look at the way he portrayed himself in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and he's on the scene of directing Scream 4.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's pretty fun.
And they're like, a fucking monkey, Wes.
Yeah, he does have a good sense of humor. I'll give him that for sure.
So, but yes, New Nightmare is the answer, the reboot, the remake. It is basically a film that's like 20, 30 years ahead of its time, because it takes everything that people are in love with today of being meta and being referential and rebooting and remaking. And it does it, in 1994. He creates after Freddy's Dead was such a film. He creates his own recreates his own universe and sets it in the real world. And you have Heather Langenkamp back, but she's playing herself.
Yeah.
Wes plays himself, Robert Englund plays himself.
Yep.
And they're all being harassed and tortured by Freddy. And in this film, Freddy isn't a child killer. He's an actual dream demon.
Yeah.
That is, like
been manifested because the story's so good.
Right. Well, I think it's the fact that the demon exists on its own as always. And it just takes the form of Freddy because that's the way it visited Wes in his dreams. Right.
Wes is such an enlightened artistic catalyst that he just brings things into reality. But then also the way you trap him with a really great story.
See, I think that what they're saying is Wes isn't that good of a writer, though. They're saying the demon came to him. And like basically like throughout the film, he's writing the new script and he's just doing it on premonitions given to him. He isn't actually a good writer. It's just given to him.
To take it even to a further degree, I think this is like Wes Craven's God delusion, where he, you know how when you ask people about like fate and free will and all this stuff and how it interacts with like biblical, understanding of the universe, and you go, well, why would God create us if he's just going to send us to hell? So if I'm a non-believer and I'm going to go to hell and I'm not going to accept Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and all this stuff, and I'm going to burn in hell, why did God create me in the first place? Why did he create somebody just to send them to hell? Because he's all-knowing and all that stuff. And they always go, well, it's not that it's all written, it's that God is writing it as he goes, kind of thing. And I'm like, that's how Wes Craven sees himself in the script.
Yeah. Well, he's writing it as he goes, but he's writing it as it comes to him in premonition. So he's not,
right, which is kind of what God's doing, right?
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit. He's not doing it on purpose.
I'm just saying Wes Craven's also a dick, just like God.
Yes, that's true. The one
slob like one of us.
Just a slob like one of us. That's something.
There was something I was reading on like the production of the film, and like there was supposed to be like even more to Wes in like his being plagued by nightmares and everything, to the point that he was supposed to be riding around in a van driven by somebody else, and like he had cut his eyelids off.
Oh, so, that would have been sick.
Yeah. So like he's
just
not
a good enough actor to pull that off. No, he's a terrible actor.
His scene is probably the worst scene in this film.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
It's so terrible. But so the film itself though does start with a pretty great twist on the Nightmare franchise. Brian already mentioned how a lot of these films start with the workshop.
Right.
And this one is no different. It starts with a workshop, and you get like, this ultra cool, ultra modern robot Freddy hand, which again is like playing on all the things that we see today the way people update bullshit that doesn't need to be updated. But, it's quickly revealed that we're on the set of a film, and Wes Craven is directing a new Nightmare. And there's a little robot hand. Heather Langenkamp's on set. She has her son with her, and she's apparently married to one of the special effects guys.
Right. And I do want to make it clear that anything bad that happens to Heather Langenkamp or her kid is 100% justified because she named him Dylan.
Right.
That's her fault. That's her bad.
Wow. I like, wait, take it. Explain yourself.
Dylan's a terrible name. It's an awful name.
Not only did she name him Dylan, but she yells it probably about 130 times in the film.
Out there, hey, guess what? Every Dylan out there, anything that bad happens to you, you deserve it.
Yeah.
No, one of my good friends' kids' name's Dylan too, but just something about the way she says Dylan. No, he's not. But one of the ways he said Dylan is just like Dylan. You just hear it so many times. You're like, ugh, if I hear the word,
I grew up with Dylan. Again, he was fine. He was great. He was awesome. He was cool as fuck.
He was fine. He was great. He was awesome. He went from fine to awesome so fast.
I was like, picked up an Iron City in that meantime.
It's cool.
Also, Dylan is the kid from Pet Cemetery. We didn't say.
Dylan is played by Miko Hughes.
Yeah.
No, I will add that like it totally had this like Shining-esque like influence there too. Like,
for sure.
Just like,
except for
like type thing.
Except for instead of Danny doing the creepy voice, this kid's creepy voice was just Donald Duck. It's so this kid. Listen, I don't like to pick on child actors. Like,
you just like to pick on children.
Yeah, sometimes.
Clearly,
kid
all these Dylans out there
terrible at acting.
I don't know if I'd say that.
Every single thing he does that tries to come across as creepy just comes across as funny.
That's fine. Like, I mean, I didn't feel that way. I thought it was good. I thought it was like kind of creepy. Like it was reminiscent of like things that were super creepy. So I was like, it's getting creepy. Like,
the lines were creepy, but they would have been creepier coming out of like a sock puppet. That's how bad this kid was.
They definitely could have helped him along too with like some post editing instead of just letting it be his voice.
I know. God, it was so bad.
Also, can we give him props for like the voice acting there?
Oh yeah,
like,
no, he does.
I don't think give him props.
I don't think he's
stop
a bad
attacking the kid.
I don't think he's a bad actor overall. I'm not on that page with Brian, but like they could have helped him along a little bit. But like I think overall, just as like playing a kid who's traumatized and afraid, like he does a pretty good job, and he does a good switch.
Yeah,
because when he's like, that's the thing is like he does have at least enough range to switch from like terrified child to making you believe that he's somewhat possessed. Like it's
he never
believable.
Really plays terrified child though. He just plays like catatonic child.
He's catatonic. He's afraid at other points. He does like seizure stuff. He's got a good range throughout the film.
I'm just gonna say, can we move on? Because I don't think he's a bad actor. I don't want him to be a sticky. He's not a sticking point for me, Brian. So let's move on.
You name a better child actor. You can't.
I could just name a child actor.
If you say Corey Feldman, we're gonna also have problems.
If you just name a child actor, they're better.
Corey Feldman could never. Corey Feldman couldn't today.
How about the kid from The Sixth Sense? What's his name?
Haley Joel.
Haley Joel Osment is 1 bajillion times better.
Haley Joel Osment was in Tusk.
on par.
As an adult.
Yeah. Guys, so how good can he be?
Parking lotting this one. Let's go. Keep moving on.
I also wrote, I don't know why here, but apparently at some point when the earthquake happens and the dad is like so psyched about it, I just wrote, "Mommy, why does earthquakes make Daddy so horny?" That was such a strange scene.
Well, I mean, hey, he's into it. He's, like they're all Angelinos in this. They're not tourists who are afraid of earthquakes. They're used to them at this point.
Yeah, I suppose.
Just a quick jump back to. So you have the hand comes to life and kills the 2 assistants to the. I keep wanting to say Dylan. It's not Dylan. To the guy Porter.
Porter, yes.
Yeah, Porter is the special tech guy, but one of those assistants is Stan Winston's son. Just as a point out. But yeah, so that actually all turns out to be a dream, and they wake up to earthquake, and Daddy horny for earthquake.
Yeah, it really is.
But like the house is shaking apart. You see like these cracks going down the walls that kind of look like a claw, and then you start getting introduced to the story of like what's going on in Heather's life. And this was actually taken from real life. She did have a real life stalker, and Wes Craven asked if he could incorporate that into the film.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that part.
Yeah. She had a real life stalker, and she said, okay. So yeah, he incorporated it. And then that's what the setup is. Like Heather is a very nervous and just kind of afraid person because, she's been getting these harassing phone calls, and, you get to hear one of the harassing phone calls and they're just doing the Freddy 1-2, sing song over the line.
Yep.
And she hangs up but you can kind of tell it's somebody with a good Freddy impersonation, at least.
Sure.
But yeah, she gets invited to do a new Wes Craven film after appearing on like a talk show where Robert Englund pops out as Freddy himself, and like all the kids are chanting and everything.
He's like playing to the crowd. He's he's schmoozing it real hard.
Which was also taken from like a real life event where like they were doing, it was one of those Sally Jesse Raphael type shows or whatever, where they were doing a thing where like, talking about violence in media, and Robert Englund actually came out and like as dressed up as Freddy, and all the kids were like, Freddy, Ghostbusters, He-Man.
I think I've seen it on YouTube, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to see this now.
That and the time when Jason was on Arsenio Hall. I think that was the other.
And then Guar was on Jerry Springer, but
I do remember that. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But so yeah, she gets invited.
Do we see these type of like taking this? I want to see Art the Clown on one of these shows. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what I want to see.
Art the Clown on Steve Wilkos.
He would actually be a good guest, actually.
It'd be fucking great. He'd shit all over. It would be Jerry Springer. Does Jerry Springer still exist? Because at the same time, he would just shit on the floor and then like shit would go wild and you'd be like, yeah, this is all makes sense to me.
Yeah, you know what show it is? It's Maury. Maury used to do
Maury has got a little edgier, I feel like.
Yeah, well, he used to do episodes of like things people are afraid of. So you have Art the Clown on for people who are afraid of clowns.
There you go.
Yeah.
Talk about masturbatory things.
Yeah.
You know.
But all right, so
any hoops.
Moving forward, Heather goes to New Line Cinema. She meets with Robert Shea, the actual producer.
Oh, God, he's so bad at acting, too.
But he's playing himself, Brian.
Yeah, he's so bad.
That's how you make it real.
If somebody was acting like that in a meeting, I'd be like, why are you acting like this? Why talk normal to me? Like, he's so bad at talking.
I mean, he is also an actor of sorts.
Oof.
I mean, probably not as good as his sister Lynn, who also appears in this film, but
it's terrible.
Look, and then Heather agrees to do the new Nightmare film.
Mm-hmm.
So it leads to more phone calls. You got more harassments, and then what's his face? Dylan. He falls ill, so they call up Porter on the film set, try to get him to come home, and then on his way home he gets killed by the Freddy glove.
Right.
Yeah. Which I thought was
right
pretty
in
cool.
The dick.
Yeah, right in the dick. Like the glove comes up out of the seat and just gives his pecker a little flick.
Yeah,
I only can hope I can go out by that way.
Yeah, he was like
joke.
Like this character between him and Heather Langenkamp and Dylan, none of them seem related or that they even really know each other very well. They have no chemistry at all. Zero chemistry. She feels more like his babysitter than his mom.
No, I mean, but at the same time, I mean, I don't want to like harp on an issue like that. I like literally feel like it's such a non-issue, and that like he does what he does, she does what she does, and they have a kid together. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it, but I'm just saying, like, she doesn't care.
Life.
No, but she doesn't seem like she gives a fuck about him.
No,
about the kid.
Don't play. I'm not gonna fall for that one, Brian. I'm not gonna fall for that because she's clearly upset. But again, I'm actually gonna divert this and say death by dick should be a t-shirt, and I would wear that one.
That's a tattoo. That's not a t-shirt. That's a tattoo.
That's a way of life.
Actually, you know what I'm gonna? Oh my god, guys! I just had a really hilarious idea for a tattoo, and this is maybe not appropriate right now. But I was like, do you know how like people do like the swords like up their chest?
Sure.
Yeah. It's just a dick.
Are you talking about getting a Brock Lesnar penis?
Brock Lesnar style, just a dick.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
That's all you.
It'd be a tough look.
Yeah.
Tough look.
You're guys, absolutely going to intimidate anybody.
Would go down the shitter before it ever even started.
You're going to intimidate whoever tries to follow that act.
You just be like, anytime somebody sees it, be like, yeah, that's to scale. That's
no. It would actually be a sword, but at the tip it would just be a dick, like a dick tip.
Oh, okay.
And then at the bottom, like it'd like this curve, and it would look like a sword, but it would also be balls.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Anyhow,
I mean, obviously it would be.
That's how that design works.
Guys, this has legs. Someone's getting it.
No, it has balls. All right, so after Chase dies, I don't know where you're getting this, Brian, that she doesn't care for her son. Like, that's like the one thing that like actually matters.
No, I'm not saying that the character doesn't care for the other character. I'm just saying her performance, it just didn't read like it was her kid to me.
Nah, yeah, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
But
I didn't either.
Yeah, so yeah, she's distraught after Chase Porter, her husband, dies.
Mm-hmm.
They did try to get Heather's real husband, who also really is a special effects artist, to play her husband, but he said no. So, and obviously Miko Hughes they got because he was in Pet Sematary, and he's one of the few kids that can sort of act. Like like you can't really put many kids in any roles to do.
There's not a lot of options you have. Yeah,
especially not in the 90s. You couldn't put one of the Olsen twins in this and then have to switch them out.
No, I mean they might have done a better job, but
okay,
who knows?
Maybe.
But yeah, so you have a lot more just like harassing phone calls. You have these nightmares. Dylan is freaking out. He's got to use his Tyrannosaurus to protect himself, but the Tyrannosaurus gets scratches just like the Freddy claw.
Did the T-Rex stuffed animal, did it I was unclear about its role.
Mm-hmm.
Did it actually have some sort of powers against Freddy?
I think
you thought it was just in his head, but then you're like, no, I think it did.
It feels like it does, and it feels like maybe there's something they could have fleshed out more to it. And just like the way they eventually describe how Freddy is getting his power, like because now this is Freddy the Dream Demon, and he's basically just like a tulpa. Like the more you believe in it, the more real it is.
Right.
So I think that's the way the Tyrannosaurus was actually combating it. Because at this time, let's see, 94, you're talking it's post Jurassic Park, and like dinosaurs are like big on any kid's mind anyway. So I think just the fact that Dylan would be, way more into dinosaurs and way more believing them, they would have, the Tyrannosaurus would have more power. It's just not something that they were as clear as it, but it's not something that it would have had more power than this Freddy figure that he only has a vague notion about.
Yeah.
Because like he has to sleepwalk to the TV for Freddy to show him the old Nightmare films, which is how he gains power, in Dylan, by showing him the Nightmare films. That way he has an idea of what it is. But even then he's still like, oh, it's the mean man who lives at the bottom of my bed.
Yeah. And every time he screams, I cracked up Dylan, because he doesn't like scream like a kid would scream if they were scared. He screams like when Kevin McAllister puts the aftershave on his face. It's like, or like when somebody says the word of the day at the Playhouse. You know what I mean? Like, such a weird decision.
It was a very disturbed scream. It wasn't, but I mean, like, I don't know. I like it better than just like a kid shrieking. That hits such a register that's just annoying to me.
It is, but like, I don't know. It just struck me as not serious. Like every time he said one of the creepy kid lines of like, I forget, I didn't write any of them down, but just like he says lots of creepy kid lines. You know what I mean? Like it never read as serious to me. I don't know why.
Yeah. But that's how it goes. There is a lot of interaction between Heather and Robert Englund. They're at the funeral of Chase when he's put in the ground. You get a kind of a cool scene with her like going down into the casket after him, and like, oh no, she was just like tired and bumped her head on an earthquake.
Yeah, the fall is pretty dumb. The way she like hits her head is dumb. But like the scene in when she goes down into the casket and all that, it's a pretty good scene.
And that's just kind of like a theme throughout the film is like earthquakes, and like gives this sense that like the world is being broken apart around them. And like they even mentioned that like, oh, we're possibly on top of a fault line that never existed before, which kind of gives you a sense that like maybe Freddy is like creating his own fault line, like he's breaking through and creating another, his own reality is breaking through into this one, which I thought like there was a possibility for this film to have been like even more interesting, especially around the ending, if this whole film was actually like you do this whole like dream stuff in all these films. Like the film could have been an entire dream in itself that like Freddy was making Heather believe, or making Nancy believe she was this person, Heather, that was an actress in LA.
Like it was a psychosis thing the whole time, or I remember the first time I saw this, I almost thought that was going to be it. Cause I remember going like, cause it's like over an hour before you see Freddy in this movie. So you do kind of come to a place where you're like, is this all in her head? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And it, like, and that this is the way like they were in like they're essentially restarting the franchise, because again, it's not the Freddy that you knew from the Nightmare series. It's, you know, he doesn't have the power that he did because he's trying to gain power within this world.
Right.
But then, you know, when he does gain power, he comes back and he's, you know, he does a lot of the same things that the Freddy that he's embodying or, you know, mimicking does, you know, especially like when he kills the babysitter in the hospital, he drags her around the room just like he did Tina in the first film.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's all done in this, like, it's just much more mean and serious. He's not jokey. He's not doing welcome to prime time, bitch.
Yeah, not as much. No.
Yeah.
But
which I think I appreciate to a certain extent of like understanding the sort of impact Freddy can have on the people he's kind of affecting, which again plays back to my idea that like he's a very clever character where he has to find ways to come back. And like, whereas everyone else is so like Hulk smash vibe, you know what I mean? You know, so I think that I have that appreciation here.
Yeah. He's forced to be creative because he doesn't exist in the physical world.
Right.
But he also gets to be creative because he doesn't exist in the physical world. So,
right.
Yeah. Eventually, because of just the way Heather is handling things, and, you know, Dylan is like sleep deprived. He's not, you know, sleeping correctly. So they wind up taking him to the hospital, and he gets like committed because he's like all seizure-y and coma-y. And they're just not, he's like catatonic. So, yeah, they try to keep him in the hospital, and you kind of run into the same thing as you did in Dream Warriors, where there's a doctor who, you know, doesn't believe what's going on and is like, you know, the roadblock to everything. She is, I don't know that I was as annoyed by her as I was the doctor in Dream Warriors, just because there's only the evidence of what Heather is telling the doctor. So it's more of a 1v1, whereas in Dream Warriors, you have the entire group and Nancy.
Yeah. This doctor, you can almost go like, oh, this one doctor's kind of going rogue a little bit, but she also like kind of marks Heather at some point as being this like narcissistic movie star who doesn't treat her kid well or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it seems that she's making a lot of assumptions about Heather based on who she is.
Right.
She's like, did you show them your movies? Like, she's obviously very judgmental about the movies she's in and all that stuff.
Right. Because and you're still kind of on the fence as to whether or not this is in Heather's head or not.
Right.
You know, like you don't have the full proof that like Freddy's back and trying to kill. So even though, you know, you did see Chase get killed with the glove. So yeah, it's a little on the line.
I mean, so I feel like with that, like, I think, I mean, you're led to believe it's like that it is somehow based in the reality of like, but at the same time, I think what could lead it, and actually you can clarify this, it's like the whole dreamscape thing of it is like majority of the time when we see Freddy kill someone, we're not seeing the hand. It's always just like you see scratches or you see blood just coming. So when what's his nuts got killed, that is a dreamscape type moment.
Right. Well, yeah, because you see Chase in like you see Chase is cut up on the chest, but they attribute it to a car wreck, and then his two assistants die.
But we saw that, like what we saw versus what, you know what I mean?
But I mean, still, but I mean, within the world, like, he's attributed to a car wreck, and then his two assistants are just attributed to like some psycho killer who's out there. And then it's not
right, but it's more so like what we're experiencing, I guess, is more so what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So like if we're trying to think about what is real versus like what isn't, I think majority of the time is like there is something that's probably, even now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably missing to a certain extent of like majority of the times we're getting a back and forth that in theory they're in a dreamscape, but you're saying like is
Freddy's is what happened to Chase. Did it really happen in real life that way?
No. I mean, I think what I'm getting at is maybe even like now that I'm thinking about it, it's like could be a plot hole of like what is the trend? Like when we see the physical thing happen, it's always a dreamscape. And when we see it happening in real life, it's always, we only see what happened. We see the physical action. We don't see any sort of, like, we don't see the hand.
You see the babysitter hanging in the air, but you don't see Freddy holding her.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I'm getting at. Is like, it could be that like where, that could be some sort of plot.
Yeah, I think we were saying it. I think we were seeing it from his perspective. Like, so did he fall asleep at the wheel or something?
Right.
I don't.
Yeah. He was falling asleep at the wheel, and then we saw the glove, which would have been in the dreamscape. But as it's reported as an accident.
Yeah.
We don't.
And I think it's like a fair assessment that like we should just like assume that though, because of like what we've experienced at other films to now. So if someone tries to change that, they're fucking up.
Right. Yeah, the babysitter gets killed in a classic Freddy fashion, and then Dylan has been put under like sedative, so he's sleepwalking, and he's intent on sleepwalking back to the house. I think this is a really cool sequence where they're going across the highway, and
that's a good scene.
Yeah, it's also funny because it calls back to Pet Cemetery. And this time he dodges all the trucks.
It's wild that I didn't even make that connection.
But he dodges all the trucks this time.
Yeah, first time he literally is 0 for 1 in that movie.
Yeah. But
this time he's 20 for 20 in this movie.
Yeah,
movie 0 for 1.
He gets the assist alley-oop by Freddy, who picks him up over.
Yeah, he was gonna eat shit on that one.
But Heather does a truck dodge too, so good for her.
And then she does a not dodge, and just gets plastered.
I'm surprised more shit didn't happen to her in that. That was a rough hit.
Yeah,
this is a good scene. This might be my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, it's the one that I had the most fond memories of, and it's kind of why
fond. That's an interesting word.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
it was. Yeah, it's a good. You had the Freddy glove, and then you had all the Freddys along the fence line that chasing the kid. So it was pretty cool.
I kind of forgot about that with the other Freddy.
I was like mostly specifically thinking about the hit. You're like, this is the most fun memory of this movie.
I remember just as a child when I saw that woman get hit by that car, just a big smile coming across my face.
It made me really happy. I don't know why.
It's my most happy memory as a child.
Seeing women hit by cars is just like really, it just brings a joy to my heart.
Gives me all those feels.
Yeah, I've already started a fundraiser for this conversation, so let's go.
Look, it started very young with listening to Grandma was run over by a reindeer, and that just turns into random women hit by Corollas.
Oh man, you're bringing it full circle, man. You're bringing it full circle.
So yeah, Heather goes back home where Dylan is. He's been sucked into his bed because it's where everything's been centering, and she falls into the Freddy evil world. And you have a little cat and mouse with the Freddy, and it's his boiler hell world. You got the water.
She goes down the old slip and slide down into hell.
Yeah. the fun pool in the middle. You got the sloppy steps.
In the next live show, we're gonna have a slip and slide into hell.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do a full on Freddy double dare where you got to slip and slide into hell.
Oh my
drop
God.
in the pool, go up the sloppy steps.
We wouldn't go through a nose. We would just go through Freddy's mask.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's
nose holes.
Yeah, I mean, she falls out the big giant Freddy mouth. So
yeah, absolutely. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, but yeah, you have a cat and mouse, and then Freddy chases Dylan into the boiler. Dylan climbs out by kicking a snake, gets the snake out of the way.
He does kick a snake.
Yeah.
Why would he kick a snake?
Because it was in the way.
Don't kick snake.
Okay, don't kick snake.
He step on snack.
Don't step on snack, though.
And then they burn Freddy, and he turns into a demon, and he explodes.
Yeah.
The end. and then they read about it in the script.
You know what?
They went back to the script.
You know what I appreciate about this movie is it really sheds light on like the true villains in our society, which is doctors and nurses.
Yes. which by the way, the one younger nurse.
Yes, we love doctors and nurses.
The one younger nurse in the scene where they're tricking them to give Dylan the sedative.
Yeah.
The younger nurse in that scene is Wes Craven's daughter.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is she the one that delivers that line where she's like, is it Julie? What isn't her friend's name Julie?
Yeah, Julie's the babysitter.
Yeah, the babysitter. Yeah. And Julie punches the one nurse.
Yeah.
And then the other nurse goes, hey, you can't do that.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. Why would you do that?
But it's like you could do anything else. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't hit the other nurse. Don't hit nurse.
Don't hit nurse.
Don't kick snack.
Rule number 1. Don't hit nurse. Don't kick snack. Don't hit nurse.
I was that whole scene was pretty wild. I kind of forgot about that completely, but
yeah, I think overall though, I mean, like obviously the film plays a lot with, you know, the nightmare meta, and it was Wes Craven's just way of like retaking control of probably a franchise that he felt, you know, just went off the rails after he had left.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he put his own spin on things, and it was his way. It was his time to play around, and because of this, he ushered in the current fucking media we have of remakes and reboots, and everything is garbage and everything sucks.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it's not even just like reboots and remakes as much as like everything has to be. I guess in a way, I wish people would come back around on this a little bit, where like everything has to be so unbelievably meta and fourth wall breaking. Mm-hmm. Like not just fourth wall breaking, but like the wall needs to be like pulverized and ground into a paste, and
everything's a wink and a nod,
set on fire. Yeah, I don't know. My whole thought with this movie. And this is probably only the second time I watched this movie. There's so many good ideas that are so poorly executed. Like not just with the performances, but it just feels like the movie that could have been, you know what I mean? Where it's like the whole thing where they go to Wes's house, like it just was never going to work. Like the whole thing when they go to Wes's house and he's like the whole cringiness, like every once in a while, the story comes along that's so good. You can trap Freddy in it or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like that whole thing, like it's a good idea, but it never had a chance to work on screen when you write non-actors into a movie, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, the ideas were there. And again, like there was like I mentioned, there was that other idea where like there was supposedly scenes of like Wes was supposed to be driven insane by this and like writing.
That would have been cooler. But instead he just comes across as some like sort of like all knowing, you know, oracle or something that tucks his pants into his jeans or shirt into his jeans, you know?
And the other thing that like we kind of get robbed of was there was also supposedly a scene where Freddy actually kills Robert Englund.
That would have been cool.
And that, like,
I would have liked that.
Because I mean, if you notice in the film, he just disappears at some point, which
he's just like, he seems to be getting possessed by Freddy, you know, with the painting, when he's doing the painting and all that. But yeah, he just fucks off basically.
Yeah.
So it's something you get robbed of. So it's like, yeah, there's definitely plenty of good ideas. And then like I mentioned before, like what if this was all a dream of like Nancy was made to believe she was an actress that was just like actually Freddy's final, way of trying to finally capture Nancy. Which could, which is like a way to play with dreams within a dreams, and it would have made the film more David Lynchian, like Mulholland Drive, a better film.
Yeah, a way better film. Yeah, it's just like, here's what salvaged the movie for me: somebody gets stabbed in the eye with an eel.
Hell yeah!
Like, you're not going to see that a lot.
No, no. There's a lot of fun things in the film, and I still think it's like a better film than a lot of the other nightmares. Like,
totally.
I'm going to say this is better than 2 and better than 6 without watching those recently. Probably better than 5.
2 has some charm. I don't even remember 5. It's been too long.
Yeah. 4, maybe 4 is better.
But is 5's Freddy's dead, right?
No, that's 6. 5 is the Dream Child.
That's Dream Child. That's the one I haven't seen. I don't even know when I saw that one last, but
yep. But I don't remember. But yeah, I still think New Nightmare ranks up there. But yeah,
No, for sure. I think the kid element, like, kind of like I enjoyed it. If I'm adding any 2 cents. I know at this point, again, I'm like a little quiet on this one. As far as arguments go, but like I enjoyed the child element of it a lot. I felt like what's her nuts?
Heather Langenkamp.
Heather, yeah, I think her character was better than in some of the other situations. I definitely think there's some weak points, but like overall, I did enjoy this. But I think the acting in a like time and place situation was better than Dream Warriors. It's like just like literally in reflecting it, but I think that's just a time and place thing. But hey, that's like my 2 cents right now. This exact moment.
Well, tell us about Freddy
guys.
versus Jason.
Oh my fucking God, guys. Are you fucking ready for this? Guess what?
I still can't believe this movie exists. Like, this many years later, I still can't believe it exists.
Fucking
Guess
rules.
fucking what, guys?
Yeah.
At some point, Freddy just gets a little weak. And he has this fucking bright idea that he's somehow going to ignite Jason Voorhees' mother to be like, you have to go to this city. So basically the understanding is that he is manipulating the whole Jason universe to say, I'm going to use you to go terrify the city that doesn't fucking, like, they're all fucking comatose with his hypnosil bullshit. And no one's scared. So I can't fucking come fucking with other kids. I'm going to make you go scare the city. And then guess what? Jason does what Jason does, and he fucks with the whole entire city. He's like, he's Hulk smash mode. He's like, okay, I'm now back here, and I'm going to go to the city that I have no association with, and I'm going to go terrorize these kids, and that's going to give Freddy power. And that's gonna allow him to come back a little bit, but Jason can't stop. Jason cannot stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
I love to the shindig. This is like,
I'm so annoyed right now that I have to talk about this movie.
I'm
sorry. Like, I can't even look at the screen right now.
The best thing about it is this movie, it doesn't let the plot get in the way of the story.
Absolutely
it's just like,
not.
you know what? Let's fucking go. Freddy's out here killing people. Now he needs Jason's help. That's fine. Jason's gonna kill people too.
Okay. So yeah, we get the best of many worlds here in that. So Jason comes back, he starts terrorizing this community, and so Freddy then starts gaining power because these kids are now being terrified, and but Jason, again, we already said he won't stop. So, but Freddy's still like, I still have to do my shit. But then the kids that are part of this town, I apologize that I'm very annoyed that I have to go through all these plot points. I'm just like, I apologize that I really have to go through this. The kids have been affected by Freddy. So I'm going to go through. God, get me back to the cast. Jesus fucking Christ. So we have Laurie Campbell. who has her mother had passed away, and for a long time it had been possible that her dad killed fucking her mom, and it clearly wasn't the thing. Freddy killed her mom, and so there was no actual like evidence otherwise, because Freddy doesn't fucking exist. And then I mean, this is a silly movie in that like this cast is insane. These are all the characters that like we all grew up with, like seeing in other movies, horror movies elsewhere. You
even get a quick Scott Farkas.
Yeah, you do. My favorite thing about this movie is that, okay, Brian, we mentioned how Dream Warriors has like a bunch of characters that you don't get a whole lot of background on. This movie has characters who have like a movie's worth of background, but they've never existed before.
Yeah. Like
I'm
we don't care.
Is Jason Ritter the Will Rollins who was the one in let me see. He was the one who went and was in like a psych ward for a while there too.
Yeah, that's John Ritter's son, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So he became a very prominent character and allowed like the plot point, honestly, to like move forward to like understand how now where the whole hypnosil, like all these kids being affected by Freddy Krueger. Like, and that's where we were able to learn that majority of them that at this point were being treated with hypnosil because it was effective, but then it was too effective. And then it was effective to the point where they're now in a comatose. Guys, I'm like, I apologize. I'm so annoyed that I talked about this.
This movie may be the most egregious use of CGI on several occasions.
It's silly, yeah.
The nose between not every use of it is horrible, but between the nose job thing,
you almost felt like that was supposed to be a 3D scene too.
Yeah, between that and then
they're testing things out perchance.
Like the Alice in Wonderland not snake. What is he?
A caterpillar.
Caterpillar. Yeah. Caterpillar of the stone guy. That was kind
of a callback. I almost felt like to
weed.
Why am I? It reminded me of like the snake, like when it was like in Dream Warriors a little bit. It felt like a callback to that a little bit.
I think it was it was an Alice in Wonderland thing, I guess. But
no, totally, I could see that. But I mean, it literally when I first saw it, I was watching at least at the same time.
Yeah,
that's what it reminded me of. It was like almost a callback to that.
Yeah, I mean,
it could have been. I almost like. I wonder if that might even be just giving them too much credit, because this is just. I literally think that they were like, it's 19. When did this come out again?
2003.
2003. It feels like it came out in 97. It's so wild that this came out in 2003. It just, yeah.
I was just going to say, this movie both came out like 10 years too late and 10 years too early.
Yeah. Because people would have been more excited if it came out at least 5 to 8 years earlier.
I like the concept of like universes going against each other, because I like when those arguments happen. I think it's fun. And you're like, let's see all the ways that this character would possibly be able to overcome this character and vice versa. I think the argument's really fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's what the whole film is supposed to be. Like everything is supposed to be in service up to the last 15 minutes when they actually fight. But like,
yes.
Everything else around it, everything with the characters is so fucking stupid.
Yeah, the whole thing is just a big fan service flick, obviously, which it's not. It's not fun.
The only thing that'll give it is like when this came out, were we not just seeing a fuck ton of these type of movies? Like that's all we were saying. It was like these like, high school teenage dramas of like, oh my God, even like talking about horror movies, like we're still seeing this like where like kids were almost not empowered, but like thinking they understood the world in a different way. And so like, they're now like, oh, we're the heroes. But luckily in this movie, they're fucking not in all essence. They're just not.
This movie, I mean, the high point for me in this one is like I mean, there's a couple cool scenes. Like there's a long burn sequence in this movie, which is kind of fun.
There's a lot of fucking cool scenes. So, like, the whole thing is like what I love about this conversation that I wish wasn't just the last 15 minutes was that they're both dead. I guess some things that I appreciated were like when they were in the dream sequence. So when Jason obviously like gets drugged to the point where he is passed the fuck out and he's now in Freddy's universe. I thought these were fun and interesting scenes because we were able to see Jason in a light that we don't normally get to see him, where he is somewhat vulnerable. He's somewhat able to be fucked with and like get fucked up.
And but also why were they worried about it? Because when they had him in the back of the van and he was like tranked, and they were like kept filling his stabbing him in the neck with the tranquilizer or whatever, and then they're like, it was like a ticking clock thing, we only have this much tranquilizer, we have this much tranquilizer. But then at one point, they knew that he was in Dreamland fighting Freddy, and there was like water everywhere, and they had to give him mouth to mouth. Like, explain to me why you're worried that Jason Voorhees is going to drown. Like, that's literally the one person you shouldn't worry about drowning, because he drowned it already.
But I think in theory is like, I feel like they understood the world as like, if you die in dream world, you're now dead in real life.
But he's already dead in real life.
Brian, what you don't understand is
but they don't know who Jason Voorhees is fully.
No,
I don't think they
true.
fully have a concept.
But so they know he drowned.
No, they do know, because they are the smartest teenagers in the world.
They pick it up so fast.
So smart.
They deduced so much, and so they knew the minutia that if Jason drowned in that van, it would still be a little while before he came back to life again.
Oh, you might be right, because I did write that down. The whole goal was just to get
Freddy out of the dreamscape.
Right.
That was the goal. Let's just go back to the whole goal in any of these films when they're like, we understand how to kill Freddy or how to get him to a point where, well, they clearly don't know how to kill Freddy because he can't die. But like, they're like, no, let's pull him out of the dreamscape into reality, and then we can go stab, and then it still doesn't work. So, but they keep trying and they keep thinking that's how it works. I would love to see a film in this franchise though that is able, they find a more unique way that actually kills him, because that whole idea of pulling him out of the dreamscape is a good idea, but nothing ever happens with it. And I'm talking from numero uno to now.
I think they should just send him to jail.
Yeah, what if they just found out that it was like Amityville Christmas Vacation, where you just put him in a dog cage?
Just put him in a dog cage, send him to jail. He is a child murderer, He has to answer for those. There's no statute of limitations on that.
Just put him up in front of Judge Judy. Yeah.
Let's just oh my God.
I love that.
Let's just create a special cage for Freddy, and he's in this cage, and it's actually just a dog cage.
Yeah.
Did you search for Freddy cage on Amazon? No.
You probably should have. Dumb losers. I love that when the fight. I read that the fights, like especially the first fight scene, not like the big climactic fight scene, but the first one in the boiler room is so Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
It's goofy.
Like, it is Dragon Ball Z meets Looney Tunes.
It's a pinball machine. It is like, if there's not a pinball game based on that fucking scene, I'm blown away. I did laugh out loud. I really just want to get through this, honestly, because like, I think the fight scene's fun, but I think that when they were trying to attempt this, it was like, okay, we got Jason versus Michael over here. Okay, let's now bring Freddy in. Let's figure this fucking out. And it just, I love the arguments. I always fucking love them, but I love them in a like bar, like we're going to be at the bar drinking our faces off and just like saying why someone would win over the other. I don't fucking want to see it, because clearly this movie should have been, I wish if this movie was almost the entire thing, somehow Jason versus Freddy, and not in the way that it actually was happening, but more physical and like more clever on Freddy's behalf, I would have been more into it. It just lost it. So I don't want to like sit on this. It's a fun movie to a certain extent. if I had watched this movie when I was in high school, I probably would have been like, this is a fun movie. I probably would have been into it. But when we're talking about this Secret Satan, I don't want to literally keep talking about this film because out of the whole series, it is not a quintessential fucking Nightmare on Elm Street film, and I will not defend it as a Nightmare on Elm Street film. It's just not.
So what you're saying is you're forfeiting your argument.
I'm totally forfeiting everything. That's why I literally don't want to spend more than 10 minutes on my fucking shit, because it's an okay movie. Watch it. Maybe take shrooms while you're doing it. That might make it more fun.
What's one thing that'll make it more fun too is and I started doing this halfway through, is imagine Freddy in this movie as Daniel Stern in Home Alone. It makes the whole thing so much more funny.
Yeah.
Because he reacts to things in the way Daniel Stern reacts to things when he gets hurt.
Yeah, especially in the final fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even the best parts are the Jason parts.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Jason folding that kid up. Yeah. Jason folding that kid up in the beginning. Jason in the cornfield.
Which he doesn't even spill his...
Actually, let's put this film in the Friday the 13th franchise, if we ever have that again. Or you know what I mean? Let's put this in, again, it would be a weak Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah, it would be.
But Jason definitely does more than Freddy in this in a lot of ways, because we want to see the whole fucking kills. I think they could have been way more creative with how Freddy approaches Jason. And I've had too many beers right now to actually think through this arguments, but I would love to have that in the future.
Yeah. It just literally do a Freddy versus Jason sequel called Jason versus Freddy.
Hey guys.
And it's just a little bit more Jason oriented.
Hey,
Jason looks bored in this movie.
Actually, this is actually a great side episode for us, is to actually just have these arguments.
Sure.
I'd be really into this.
Yeah.
But let's now go to the fun. I'm really cool with let's go to the final.
Just cool with giving up.
Let's
I'm just really cool with this.
There's no reason for anyone to give any more comments on this film. I mean, unless they're actually important.
There is.
And I don't think anything is.
And it's my favorite line. Which is when Jason's
Steve,
in the cornfield and he comes across the two fucking drunkards,
football player guys,
and the football players, and one of them says, "And you weren't invited, corn poke."
Well, and also the way he says it is so funny. That I wrote down two lines that are laugh out loud funny. It's that one, and when, as I mentioned, Jason is drowning in the van in the back, and he is trying to tell Kelly Rowland, the kid from what's the freaking Ryan Reynolds Christmas movie? I don't know what the hell that kid's in.
Spirited.
But when No. What the hell is it called? Anyway, the one with oh my God, I can't remember anyone's name in it. No, fuck me. Anyway, whenever he's in the back of the van and he's like, you got to give him mouth to mouth, or he's going to drown.
and look at her and she's like,
Kelly Rowland's like, no, what? No, I'm not doing that. And then I think his name's, I don't remember what the fuck his name is. He turns around and goes, Kia, he has asthma. It's a great line. Yeah, it's a great line
God.
too.
Fuck off.
I wonder how Kelly Rowland feels about this movie. I'm going to say not great, because of one scene where Freddy says something about dark meat, and then she calls somebody right after that.
Yeah, not great.
It doesn't age well. No,
not
it doesn't age well.
But she's still hot, so
she's a very attractive lady. She ain't that great at acting.
Yeah, nobody is in this movie. Who cares?
No, that's true. All right, so I mean, are we going straight?
Okay. Boys, okay, because I know my movie's just out. It doesn't even fucking matter. You're each voting for your own. Vote for each other's, or figure out I don't know.
Just
and then
figure it out.
Like there's it is literally coming down to me deciding which one I preferred more. That's what's happening.
All right, Steve, what are you voting for?
And do you have a wild card and you're gonna vote for mine?
No.
If no one like vote for me.
All right, literally, Steve, what are you voting for?
I mean, I think, man, it's like the highs of Freddy versus Jason are higher.
Don't you even? You shut up. You're so full of shit.
But I mean, they are.
Oh my God.
They're so much.
No,
they're so
not.
fun. Like
there's
it's
no argument for my film.
As
oh my God.
As a horror film or anything else, but just as something fun. It's a fun thing, and like the special effects are great. But yeah, the special effects are also great in Dream Warriors. So yes, Dream Warriors.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, Freddy vs. Jason, I don't hate it as much as you do, Meg. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
Why are you even taking more than 30 seconds right now?
I will say I'm going to take New Nightmare because I do think it's marginally better as a film, and it's a more fun idea. It's not executed particularly well, but it's a more fun idea. This is a entire movie based on a thought experiment, which is hard to vote for.
You're taking 50 seconds right now. Okay.
All right, spit it out, Meg. What are you gonna do?
Okay, boys. Okay, let's go. I walked into this really feeling like New Nightmare was going to be the film. And like, I feel like in all essence, there's so many more things that I do prefer over Dream Warriors. But I think I have to stick with Dream Warriors for quintessential aspects of like what I want to see out of Nightmare on Elm Street film. But also I think the arguments we made tonight, I do think that Brian hold stronger arguments where I was more engaged. I'm like, yeah, no, these are things that I want to see in the film. So I'm going Dream Warriors, bro.
Yeah, listen, guys.
Brian, I don't want to actually hear. I don't want
yet. I knew.
I just don't
that I had the superior movie here, and I listen. All I had to do was just nudge it across the finish line. So
you gave a strong argument, dude. You worked hard. You worked hard for it, and I'm not giving you credit for that either. And I don't want to.
You already did. Too late. Yeah. I already put it in back pocket.
You already did. You already voted for him. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
you said
taking it home.
But I didn't want to hear his fucking voice after this about it because Steve,
boys and ghouls.
I fucking get it. I don't want Brian to win.
I'm having trouble keeping these skaters down.
Ever. He is the worst.
All right, here we go. Ready? You ready for what the punishment episode is? Your boy's going to deliver a little bit of Christmas cheer, right? Right in that goddamn Scroogey pie hole of yours over here talking about how you hate the Christmas spirit.
I just don't like when you win most of the time.
Here's what's going to happen. We are going to watch a movie that we've talked about many, many times on this show before, but we have not discussed yet. And it is from the year of our Lord, I believe 1997. Big year for me. We are going to watch the Charles Band Full Moon classic Jack Frost, guys.
Oh, finally.
All right.
We're getting into Jack
literally
Frost.
That's amazing. Okay,
we're getting into Jack Frost. I'm stuffing your stockings, guys, with a little Christmas gift, a little early Christmas gift for you. Yeah.
It's like
yeah, it makes it burn just slightly longer. All right, guys, I'm excited. I was gonna watch this movie already. I haven't watched it yet this year.
Again, I'm gonna watch t-shirt material, Steve. Common cold.
That's what your stocking's full of this year, boys and ghouls. And if you haven't, Meg, have you seen Jack Frost before?
No, never actually.
You were in for a damn treat. You were in for a damn old treat. All right. Get out there if you haven't already. I guarantee it's on Tubi. I don't even know for sure yet, but I would bet $1 million Jack Frost is on Tubi.
I can guarantee the Riff Tracks version is on Tubi because I fell asleep the other night.
I'm pretty sure it's on Shudder as well. Either way, go watch Jack Frost from 1997, not the Kevin Costner one, guys.
Not the Kevin Costner one, not the Michael Keaton one.
I did see the Kevin Costner one in theaters when it came out.
Costner, that's what I meant.
I did see that one in theaters when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Any hoops.
This one is hornier. This one is sexier. It's more violent.
Theme for my Christmas is Coming Cold, y'all.
Check it out, guys. That's what we're doing for the punishment episode, which is really more of a reward this time around. So, all right, boys and girls. With that being said, we've wrapped it up. Your boy's taking home another month. For the Halloween's Forever crew, I'm the champ. Once again.
I'm Meg, and I'm a little bit sad, but whatever.
I'm Jack and Frost.
See you later. Bye.